In the meantime, I realized that Ham Jin's cultivation has significantly advanced. Ham Jin, you've already reached the late Chi building stage. Todd. I arrive in the middle zone of another store and ask. Actually, I briefly watched the person called Jang Ik and the Wuji Ghost King sparring in the astral realm, although I fainted halfway through for some reason. Thanks to that, I had an epiphany and gained new enlightenments, obtained a new divine ability, and my cultivation rose. You've gained quite an opportunity. Congratulations. What's the new divine power? In response, Ham Jin moves his body to form a hand seal and draws spiritual power from his dantian to his fingertips. This is the spiritual power of Ham Jin's silica, Earth Great Wall Secrets, turns into a dark ink-like light. It's a darkness that has a similar quality to the darkness of outer space. As Ham Jin swings his fingertip, the ink light turns into an ink-colored blade, an ink blade, Chinese letter, which flies across the star and slices through a small mountain. Kagagugugu. A definite core formation level strike. Impressive. Did you create this by observing the heaven collapsing esteemed one cleaving stars? Yes, thank you for the compliment. Judging by its form, it seems to be a divine power created from the epiphany gained by watching Jang Ik strike. Indeed, even at the Chi building stage, observing a star-shattering stage strike could provide enough enlightenment to create a divine ability. Of course, using this one technique drains all of Ham Jin's spiritual power. But since Silica Earth Great Wall Secrets is a method where spiritual power continuously surges as long as the dragon vein is controlled, it isn't a major drawback. Once he reaches the core formation stage, he will likely be able to use it continuously, making it a life-saving trump card for Ham Jin. Well, I ask another question as we move through the middle zone again. What's the name of this technique? I named it Black Blade Slash, Chinese letter. It's fitting since it's black, and it represents my resolve to cut down the Black Tomb Old Devil who tried to take over my body. The Black Tomb Old Devil was a great fate that threatened me, so I named it with the determination to cut down my fate. Black Blade Slash, an excellent name. I nod and immediately create a method to refine Black Blade Slash and make it a technique one can cultivate with, combining Silica Earth Great Wall Secrets to form Black Blade Maturing Secrets, Chinese letter. TL/N, Black Blade Slashes, Silica Earth Great Wall Secrets is, MC took the beginning of Black Blade Slash and the later of Silica Earth Great Wall Secrets and named it. However, the Hanya for is different, hence it means maturing secrets, not Great Wall Secrets. Over the course of several days and nights, we crossed numerous middle zones and finally returned to Ham Jin's world. Kuang. Hugh. I emerged from Ham Jin's body, congratulating the exhausted Ham Jin. Thank you, I've gained a lot thanks to your cooperation. No, I am the one who received an excessively great opportunity. I will grant you a spirit fruit to extend your lifespan later. Let's meet in the upper realms someday. Pay it. As I reclaim my consciousness, I smile at Ham Jin, who bows deeply as I return to the ancient force realm. Ham Jin watches Seo Yunhyan disappear into the void and looks at his fingertips. TSD. For a moment, his nails turn black, and then a sharp black blade forms on his hand. Black Blade Maturing Secrets, to bestow such an excellent method. How can I ever repay this grace? Ham Jin ponders and finally makes up his mind. Yes, that person told me to meet him in the upper realms. Someday, I will ascend. I will become a heavenly being beyond even what my master could aspire for and ascend to the upper realms. I will become someone who can assist the great Wuji Ghost King. I will properly join the Wuji religious order. He finally sets a goal for his life. It is to ascend and repay the grace he received from the Wuji Ghost King by standing by his side. Boing! When Ham Jin swings his hand, a sharp black blade shoots out from his hand and cuts through a nearby cliff. I will refine this black blade countless times and definitely reach him. Thus, it won't be long before Ham Jin, who trains in the Black Blade Maturing Secrets, becomes a core formation sage god and earns the title of Black Blade King, Chinese letter. The legend of Black Blade King Ham Jin has just begun. Blink. I open my eyes. Since I've been focusing my primary consciousness entirely on my avatar while fighting Jang Ik, my main body was in a comatose state. My comrades must have been greatly alarmed. I need to explain properly. Clink, clink. For some reason, my body and limbs are bound to a chair, and my mouth is gagged. Moreover, wax-like candles are placed on my hands, knees, and head, with melted wax dripping down. In front of me, Yonwei is dressed like a shaman and is performing a ritual with a mountain of ancient stones piled up around her. Hiat, look, the cult leader has awakened. She stops the ritual, wipes her sweat, and approaches me. Are you all right? What kind of deep-sea monster's deep-sea curse did you get hit with? Deep-sea curse. Since my mouth is gagged, I ask with mental speech, and Yonwei explains about the deep-sea curse. She says they have been gathering ancient stones and materials from the sea domain to treat the deep-sea curse and save me. I feel grateful but can't help but feel absurd and laugh wryly. Heh, I'm sorry, but I wasn't afflicted by a deep-sea curse. I was temporarily mentally bound in the lower realms due to a complicated incident. The reason my blood was boiling was because I awakened an immortal beast talent, and the reason for the blood splattering from my 7 orifices was probably because I directly faced a true person's true body. Yonwei is silent for a moment after hearing my words, then in a fit of rage, strikes my head with the bell she is holding. You bastard! Judging by your words, you're not the cult leader but an evil spirit possessing the cult leader's body. Come out of that body immediately, evil spirit. Jingle, jingle. I sigh as I get hit several times by the bell, which exerts force on my spiritual body. Wooduk woojuduk. The chains binding my body are torn apart, and the gag on my mouth shatters. This bastard, heck. Clench. After I subdue Yonwei by grabbing her face and lifting her up, I shake her brain with a palm strike, causing her to faint. Her eyes flip as she passes out on the floor. I then summon Hong Fan. Payet. Hong Fan pierces through space and appears before me, bowing. Master, have you returned? Was it indeed Lady Yonwei's method that was effective? After explaining the truth to Hong Fan, I ask him a question. Was there any trouble while I was in a comatose state? Hong Fan's face turns pale. I sense something has happened. Let's go to the conference room. Wuji Religious Hall conference room. There I receive an unbelievable report. So, while the leaders went to gather ancient stones and left the headquarters, the remaining members, Yuk Yo, Beek Rin, and Buk Hyang Hwa and Kim Yon were kidnapped by the fighting demon pirate gang. Bujaduk. Hong Fan speaks with a hardened face. To be precise, when Yuk Yo and Beek Rin were kidnapped, the 2 kings rushed to retrieve them but ended up getting captured as well. That's why Lady Yonwei tried to wake Master up early. Where are they now? The fighting demon pirate gang's Salt Bone ship has a peculiar ability to dive into the deep sea of the ancient force realm. Currently, it's said, to be roaming around the deep sea of the ancient force realm. Do they tend to abuse their hostages? Kim Young-hoon shakes his head at my question. Probably not. More than 90% of the fighting demon pirate gang are from the fighting ghost race, and the remaining 10% are from the demon race, having nothing to do with humans. The fighting ghost race. They look similar to the human race, but their reproduction method is extremely unique. Reproduction method. Yes, they charge at their preferred partners and fight while mating. Their offspring are insane creatures who go into heat and feel extreme pleasure during combat. Because of this, they generally ignore and neglect those they capture as prisoners since they can't fight. Hearing this, Jian Myohoon shudders, a look of repulsion on his face. So when that bastard fought me. Enough chit-chat. Who? My breath turns into frost, causing the meeting room to start icing over. From now on, we will find and rescue our cult members. Focusing intently with eyes as cold as ice, I begin to track Kim Yon's location. Since Kim Yon is connected through the mysterious bizarre goo and the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon, I can find her location if given some time. Just hold on a little longer. Clenching my teeth, I think of Buk Hyang Hwa and Kim Yon. The depths of the ancient force realm's deep sea. Within the hull of the Salt Bone ship, 2 women are arguing inside a prison cell within the ship. No, you shouldn't have rushed in recklessly. It's you who should have at least run and reported it. What were you thinking? Buk Hyang Hwa and Kim Yon are confined in adjacent cells, their limbs bound as they argue. Are you telling me to abandon our followers and run away? Your loyalty is admirable. Now we're both stuck here together. What good is that? After arguing for a while, the 2, exhausted and panting, sigh deeply. What a mess this is. Tell me about it. After some time, the cell next to the one where they are held opens, and Yuk-Yo is thrown in. The fighting ghost race warriors who threw Yuk-Yo then toss Beak Rin into the cell next to hers, laughing as they move away. Kim Yon looks at Yuk-Yo. Although the fighting ghost race doesn't usually abuse their prisoners, it seems Yuk-Yo was often dragged in front of Jin Ma-Yol and mistreated. We need to escape quickly. At Kim Yon's words, Buck Hyang-Hwa chuckles dryly. How do you plan to escape? Even if we get out of here, the Salt Bone ship is submerged in the deep sea, so we can't get outside. Didn't I manage to control your Buck Hyang fleet? I think I can control this ship too. Wake up. My Buck Hyang ship was half controlled by a puppet mechanism, making it possible to take control. The Salt Bones ship, on the other hand, is entirely a manually operated Dharma treasure. You won't even have the opportunity to seize control. Hearing this, Kim Yon suddenly asks Buck Hyang-Hwa a question. Then, why not modify this Salt Bones ship into your Buck Hyang ship? What? Last time, I saw you quickly modify the ship I had seized and took it back, right? Can't you modify this ship to control it as well? It's possible, but how would we do that? We're both tied up like this. Kim Yon smirks and moves her arm a few times. Then, all of a sudden, clang, clang, clang. The chains binding her arm snap. Seeing this, Buck Hyang-Hwa's eyes widen in astonishment. Be breaking the Dharma treasure that suppresses spiritual power with brute strength. Spiritual power is suppressed, but my internal energy isn't. Kim Yon says with a gentle smile. Of course I can't win against those fighting ghost race bastards in a head-on fight, so a frontal assault is impossible. I'll free you too, so you need to modify this ship as quickly as possible to escape. Got it. Wujidal. Bending the bars and moving into Buck Hyang-Hwa's cell, Kim Yon releases her cuffs. Buck Hyang-Hwa looks at her for a moment in a daze before smiling. All right, Unnai. Jin Ma-Yol, the captain of the fighting demon pirate gang, is staring outside with a cold expression from his captain's cabin. Due to the heavy spatial compression, the interior of the Salt Bone ship is extremely vast, akin to a nether crossing ship, making his captain's cabin the size of a small city. Kuang. Jin Ma-Yol looks out through the window of the captain's cabin. Even a day earlier, I need to obtain it as soon as possible, but Yuk-Yo, that fish-headed bitch. Gritting his teeth, he glares at the scenery outside. He is staring down at the gigantic sea dragon statue deep within the depths of the deep sea. The secret art of purple soul filling the heavens, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, is within reach. A strange excitement fills Jin Ma-Yol's eyes as he gazes at the sea dragon statue. Yes, let's wait just a bit longer. Then, I will achieve the state of unaging and undying Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter with this mortal body. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 374, At the C4. Kim Yon asks after shattering Buck Hyang-Hwa's shackles. By the way, us doing this, we won't get caught in someone's consciousness domain, right? Buck Hyang-Hwa clicks her tongue and says, Did you really free me without thinking about that? I just had a gut feeling it would be okay. Well, you're not entirely wrong. After all, the Salt Bone ship is similar to the Nether Crossing ship in that it's like a massive country inside. Moreover, the waves emitted by the Salt Bone ship restrict one's consciousness quite a bit, so they won't notice us doing this. Hoo-hoo, I knew it all along. Stop saying foolish things and help me out, Unnai. Buck Hyang-Hwa stretches her fingers and places her hand against the ship's wall. Chijajek. Golden patterns, along with a mix of purple and pale pink patterns, appear all over her body. What the? You've got tattoos too. They're not tattoos, but a physical characteristic. Sorry. Kim Yon scratches her head and slightly lowers her head. Buck Hyang-Hwa watches her for a moment before getting back to work. Using the broken pieces of the shackles as materials, she creates a small tool. Starting from there, numerous devices begin to appear around Buck Hyang-Hwa. Initially yawning while watching Buck Hyang-Hwa, Kim Yon's eyes grew wide as time passes. What in the world? / Kagagugu. In a small sea domain of the ancient Force realm, there appears a ghost king with 19 heads and his subordinates. Is this the place? Yeah. The ghost king with 19 heads, Wuji Ghost King Seo Yunhyan, gazes at the sea below with brightened eyes as he is connected to a pure white consciousness thread. Down below, I sense the mysterious bizarre Ghost King Kim Yon. Surely, the Conqueror King Buk Hyang Hwa and the Guardian Ghost King Beek Rin are with her. So, do we just need to go down and come back? The six-armed thunder god, Six Extremes Ghost King Jian Myohoon asks. But Seo Yunhyan shakes his head. According to the natives, recklessly diving into the deep sea of the ancient force realm is a dangerous act. Moreover, Kim Yon's presence is not in the shallow coastal waters but in the very depths of the deep sea. Then what do you plan to do? Jian Myohoon looks puzzled, and Seo Yunhyan chuckles as he spreads his arms. Kagagugu. The surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy starts converging on Seo Yunhyan, drawn by his great desert to Dead Sea. What do you think I'm going to do? Wu Wuang. He draws the colorless glass sword and smiles. To not be touched by the deep sea, we'll just have to split it apart. As his mental speech echoes, all the leaders of the Wuji religious order who have come with Seo Yunhyan begin to exert their power. Jian Myohoon grins widely and spreads his six arms. Kagagugu. Jian Myohoon's domain unfolds. Integrated Dao domain, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Charged lightning veil of the great heavenly rain, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Quajijijik. In an instant, the surrounding space transforms into an alternate dimension where red lightning, Chinese letter, rains down like a torrential downpour. Red lightning covers the sky. However, by Jian Myohoon's will, the red lightning passes through his group without causing any harm and falls straight to the bottom. Quarvirurung. The domain of crashing red lightning begins to push away the lower sea of dimensions. Then, the other leaders of the Wuji religious order begin to exert their power in that direction. Quack-quack-quack-wing. Countless attraction forces, ghostly power and devilish power pour forth. Meanwhile, Seo Yunhyan's hands begin to imbue with the powers of curses and blessings. The energy of yin-yang and five elements begin to permeate the dimensional sea below, where the lightning falls. Great Mountain. Payet. Splitting Emperor. A pure white light begins to swirl. /////. Jin Mayol's eyes twitch. Kagagugu. His salt bone ship is shaking violently. Payet. Someone uses the ground shrinking technique to rush into the captain's cabin, where Jin Mayol resides. It's the vice captain of the Salt Bone ship and a grand perfection 4-axis cultivator, Jin Ryu. What is it, vice captain? An enemy attack? No, captain, the Salt Bone ship has gone mad. What? The Salt Bone ship's keel is shaking wildly and making strange noises. What kind of dragon chewing on grass nonsense is that? However, shortly after moving to the keel of the ship with Jin Ryu, does Jin Mayol understand the situation? The keel of the Salt Bone ship, made of salt crystals, is emitting a sound similar to that made by the fighting ghost race during mating. Jin Mayol looks at the salt crystals emitting white light and making strange noises with a startled expression. Why is this happening? Jin Mayol is bewildered. Despite having lived for about 10,000 years, he has never heard of salt crystals making such bizarre noises. After a moment of confusion, he appears to think of something and flinches. I see, is it a deep-sea monster? Is there a deep-sea monster that can make salt crystals go into heat? Well, the deep sea of the ancient force realm holds records of countless worlds, so such things might exist. A deep-sea monster might be nearby, so I will activate the great concealment technique. Tell everyone to prepare. Yes, Captain. Jin Mayol clicks his tongue and returns to the captain's cabin. He then sits at the center of a huge formation in the middle of the cabin and begins to form hand seals. Wu Wang. His domain begins to expand around him. As his formation activates, it amplifies Jin Mayol's domain, gradually enveloping the entire Salt Bone ship. Integrated Dao domain, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Great concealment Dragon Spirit Sea, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. In an instant, the sound of a dragon's roar seems to echo, and Jin Mayol's domain swiftly envelops the hull, blending the Salt Bone ship with the surrounding deep-sea scenery, making it almost invisible to any watchful eyes. Jin Mayol sits down and focuses on his domain, sending a voice transmission throughout the ship. This is the captain's order. It is currently suspected that a deep-sea monster is lurking around the Salt Bones ship. Because of this, the keel of the ship is making disturbing noises. Until the deep-sea monster has completely passed or the keel's reactions have ceased, we will remain in the concealed domain. Therefore, all crew members must remain. Jin Mayol suddenly falls silent and stops speaking. As he sits and concentrates, his eyes snap open. Damn it, the prisoners are up to something suspicious. Everyone, head to the cells and subdue them. The domains of integration stage, grand cultivators, are intertwined with their consciousness, so grand cultivators can perceive all actions within their domains. Jin Mayol, who enveloped the Salt Bones ship, grits his teeth as he observes Kim Yon and Buk Hyung Hwa doing something suspicious in the cells. Damn it, Conqueror King. Although he wants to immediately get up and subdue them, he can't move recklessly as a suspicious deep-sea monster is stimulating the Salt Bones ship's keel, leaving him no choice but to bite his lips in frustration. ////. The vice captain, Jin Ryu, leads her subordinates to the lower deck where the cells are located, wearing a nonchalant expression. Each and every one of them are nothing but boring things. There's no point in fighting. The Conqueror King and the mysterious bizarre Ghost King are experts in puppet control. Thus, the fighting ghost race pirates would have to fight against puppets. For the fighting ghost race, who can only satisfy their lust by engaging in combat and mingling flesh with their opponent, puppet cultivators are not attractive partners. The only one who caught Jin Ryu's interest during the battle to capture them was the Ghost King Beak Rin. But since Beak Rin is a ghostly creature, it is impossible to copulate with non-ghostly entities. In short, the members of the Wuji religious order are unappealing and pointless opponents for the fighting ghost race. Puppeteers, what's the point of them? In my time, puppeteers used puppets as support while they fought as true warriors themselves. Nowadays, each and every puppeteer is bizarre and weird. Jin Ryu spits out her disdain for Kim Yon and Buk Hyung Hwa who use puppets as she enters the cell area. And what Jin Ryu sees in the cell area are thousands of complex mechanisms. What in the world? Clang, clang, clang. All of a sudden, the cell area has somehow been transformed into a bizarre labyrinth. The labyrinth extends in a straight line, but the entire path is filled with what looks like powerful mechanical devices and weapons, with countless grotesque puppets lined up between them. At the end of the labyrinth, Kim Yon stands with a sinister smile, her arms hanging down. Consciousness threads extend from her fingertips, connecting to countless puppets, while Buk Hyung Hwa, equipped with spider-like puppet limbs, is continuing to modify the area behind. Jin Ryu laughs drily. Conqueror King and mysterious bizarre Ghost King. I've heard of both your reputations, but I didn't expect this. However, it's pointless. If you surrender now, I'll merely put you back in your cells quietly. If you resist, I'll tear off your limbs and bind you. However, Kim Yon merely flicks a single finger. Wowung. Flash. 3 mass-produced General Seo puppets, modified by Kim Yon under Seo Yunhyan's tutelage, fire beams from their mouths. Qing. After taking the beams from the mass-produced General Seo puppets at the Grand Perfection Nascent Soul level, Jin Ryu's eyes twitch, and she takes a step forward. Well, fine. If you insist on drinking punishment wine, I'll oblige. Kung. The fighting ghost race appears almost identical to humans in appearance. The primary difference is that the fighting ghost race is born with well-developed muscles throughout their bodies, which swell further as they grow, with horns developing from their foreheads. The more horns one has, the more talent they are considered to possess. Those with fewer horns are treated with disdain even within the fighting ghost race. The royal family of the fighting ghost race has 7 horns, and the highest nobility has 5 to 6. The middle nobility has 4. The lower nobility has 3. Commoners have 1 or 2, and slaves have their horns removed, marking them worthless. Captain Jin Mayol of the fighting demon pirate gang is a high noble with 5 horns, while the vice captain Jin Ryu is a middle noble with 4 horns. Wowung. Jin Ryu's horns tremble as strength surges through her muscle. Quang quang. With an indifferent expression, Jin Ryu crushes the puppets charging at her and begins walking through the labyrinth. The distance between Jin Ryu and Kim Yon and Buk Hyung Hwa gradually shortens. Kim Yon glances at Beak Rin, lying beside her. Beak Rin has just been released from his restraints and needs time to recover his strength. How much longer, Buck? Almost done, Unnai, and please call me by my proper name. Got it, Wawa. He. Kim Yon chuckles and focuses her mind on the consciousness threads extending from her fingertips. Listen well, my disciple. It's as if the Mad Lord, who had taught her the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon and puppet control while driven mad by insanity, is speaking beside her. What do you think is the reason the wonderfully mysterious fortress keeps winning against any force it fights? Strange madness begins to glimmer in her eyes. Is it because we simply overwhelm them with superior technology and numbers? That is certainly true, but the most important thing is this: madness. Any force that fights against the wonderfully mysterious fortress, regardless of who they are and whether they know or not, gradually becomes infected by the heart of the wonderfully mysterious fortress during battle. In other words, those who fight us gradually open up to the possibility of evolution. Quang quang quang. As Jin Ryu continues to crush the General Seo puppets with an expressionless face, her face begins to twitch. Yes, my wonderfully mysterious fortress is love, a love that guides everyone to a new world. It's the ultimate embodiment of benevolence. Ah, how magnificent a creation have I made. Those who face the puppets of the wonderfully mysterious fortress, breaking them, fighting them, and confronting the fortress itself. They inadvertently stare directly at the circuits of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Gradually, the circuits of the fortress are engraved into their subconscious, and they begin to be tainted by their madness. The more they fight the wonderfully mysterious fortress, the more they lose their sanity and go mad. And when both sides are driven mad, the ultimate victory has no choice but to belong to the Mad Lord's forces, who have long accustomed to the madness. Choo-choo-choo-choo-choo-choo. Kim Yon starts biting her lips furiously. Blood begins to flow from her lips, and excitement and madness gradually spreads across Jin Ryu's face as she continues to destroy the General Seo puppets. Yuata. Jin Ryu laughs. It had been the same when they captured the mysterious bizarre ghost king before. Fighting puppets isn't enjoyable, but fighting Kim Yon's puppets somehow always leads to a moment of excitement. Hueta. Wowung. Jin Ryu's horn trembles and begins to emit a strange sound. Jin Ryu's face turns bright red. The muscles all over Jin Ryu's body begin to swell even more. Before long, the faces of General Seo puppets overlap with Jin Mayol's face in her eyes. Captain, Jin Mayol Oriboni. Jin Ryu begins to savagely pummel the General Seo with a flushed face. Even while descending into madness, she manages to keep some semblance of sanity and approaches Kim Yon. I'm on the verge of going on a rampage. Jin Ryu sighs inwardly. This is why the fighting ghost race dislikes facing puppeteers. Even if they think they enjoyed themselves, upon regaining their senses, they find only hard puppet fragments instead of the opponent's flesh. The realization that they did a round with puppets brings a rush of shame and discomfort rather than satisfaction and joy. However, seeing the puppets charging at her, Jin Ryu eventually sighs and swings her fist. I don't know. Whether it's a tool or whatever, let's just enjoy and think later. Ziyak. Her entire body flushes red as her muscles swell even more. The four horns on Jin Ryu's forehead vibrate madly. Huyua kaya kuag kiyik. As she lets out an alluring cry as if to seduce her opponents, she smashes through the surrounding puppets with her eyes rolled back, advancing forward. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 375, at the C5. Jin Ryu's momentum is fierce. She relentlessly crushes the puppets charging at her, and endures the beams and traps falling upon her body, rushing forward undeterred. Click, click, click. However, the more puppets she shatters, the more they reassemble on the spot and begin to bind her body. Gradually, Jin Ryu's body becomes encased in a puppet armor, but her steps do not falter. Quang 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 quang. The floor of the ship is dented with each step. As Jin Ryu draws closer, tension begins to appear on Kim Yon's face. She breaks into a cold sweat as she looks at Jin Ryu's blood-red hammer-like hands. That really hurt. It was Jin Ryu who captured Kim Yon, and with one hit from her pot-lid-sized hands, Kim Yon was knocked out cold. In an urgent voice, Kim Yon shouts at Buck Hyung-hwa. She's almost here. How much longer until it's finished? It's almost done. Stop rushing me. Damn it, don't you know how to hurry? Move faster. Kyueng. At last, Jin Ryu destroys Kim Yon's final puppet, glaring at her with a bright red face. A face that seems to say something is still not enough. Of course, Kim Yon can confront her alone, but having heard of the mating methods of the fighting ghost race, she dares not recklessly do so. Hurry faster. Kim Yon's face turns pale as she reaches behind her, and in a state of panic, yanks Buck Hyung-hwa's hair. Kaya, let go, it's done. Buck Hyung-hwa, irritated by the pain as if her scalp is being torn off, activates the device she has been modifying. Flash. Kuruk. Jin Ryu, who is acting coquettishly, feels something strange. Something becomes wrong with her senses. Clang, 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 clang. The passageway she is standing on suddenly flips, and she sees Buck Hyung-hwa and Kim Yon moving to a different location. No, the entire maze-like corridor that Buck Hyung-hwa and Kim Yon have modified is splitting into segments and moving around. What is this? It's such an absurd situation that she snaps out of her state of heat and opens her eyes wide. Buck Hyung-hwa, looking at the mechanism connected to her pattern and glowing, shouts. It's done. The modified spaces have been transferred to each section of the Salt Bone ship, and we can now modify it quickly in a simplified manner. You need to help now, Unnai. Got it. Kim Yon grasps Buck Hyung-hwa's hand and begins to infuse consciousness. Weeing. Kim Yon's consciousness threads spread throughout the Salt Bone ship. She connects with the consciousness of the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon embedded in Buck Hyung-hwa's head to rapidly exchange thoughts with her. I'll tell you the locations to modify and the methods through consciousness, so follow it exactly. All right, quickly. Buck Hyung-hwa gives instructions to Kim Yon, and following her orders, Kim Yon begins modifying the entire Salt Bone ship through the transmitted modified spaces in real time. Good, now the ship itself has become somewhat puppetized. Great, then please send me the blueprint. Here. After a brief look at the blueprint, Buck Hyung-hwa's eyes brighten as she grasps Kim Yon's hand. That wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon thing, can you connect it more strongly with my mind? Yeah, I can, but... Then please do it quickly. After a moment's hesitation, Kim Yon connects her consciousness more tightly with Buck Hyung-hwa's. Instantly, the space they are in turns into a command room under Buck Hyung-hwa's influence. Cling, 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 cling. The command room and the other modified sections of the Salt Bone ship are connected with the circuits of the Mad Lord through Kim Yon's wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon, transforming the Salt Bone ship into a small-scale, wonderfully mysterious fortress happens in an instant. Kagagugu. Kim Yon and Buck Hyung-hwa extend their consciousness and look up at the ceiling. Buck Hyung-hwa remarks, I'm going to take us out of the deep sea. Let's go. Kuwu. The Salt Bone ship lifts its bow diagonally upwards. Then the Salt Bone ship begins to move. Woo-woo-wang. Cutting through the deep sea of the ancient force realm, it moves forward with its bow pointed diagonally upward. And a thunderous voice resounds throughout the entire ship. You damned, what are you doing to my ship? The enraged voice of Jin Mayol echoes throughout the ship. Get your hands off my ship, I'll kill you. Kagagugu. Jin Mayol's domain moves, pressing down on Buck Hyung-hwa and Kim Yon. However, when Kim Yon manipulates something, Jin Mayol's pressure is instantly dispersed by the devices in the command room. Kim Yon frowns as she reads the blood-reddened fury of Jin Mayol. That person will soon come down here. Beak Rin needs to wake up quickly. Buck Hyung-hwa looks at the still unconscious Beak Rin. Beak Rin's ghostly power has somewhat recovered, but he still hasn't regained consciousness. Kim Yon also glances at Beak Rin with a worried expression and then flinches before looking around. Jin Mayol has retracted his domain. If an integration stage breaks through everything and comes down here, what should we do? But Buck Hyung-hwa shakes her head with a meaningful smile at Kim Yon's worry. No, that won't happen. What? As a fellow ship master, I know, he will never recklessly destroy his own ship. He will try to navigate through the maze we created as much as possible and come to us. What? But you self-destructed your own ship. It felt like sacrificing my own child, But I had other ships, so it was possible. That fighting ghost race has only one salt bone ship, so his attachment to it is on a whole different level. Buck Hyung HWA, with a confident expression, steers the salt bone ship to the surface. In short, we still have time before Jin Mayol gets here. Kyuang. Shattering the walls of the command room, Jin Mayol, who has flown straight down from the captain's room, creating a hole throughout the salt bone ship, locks eyes with them in fury. What's this, Hyung HWA? You were wrong. Transmit. Clicking. Silently, Buck Hyung HWA presses a button, and she and Kim Yeon, along with Beek Rin and Yuk Yo, are transmitted to another part of the salt bone ship. Clang, clang, clang. Buck Hyung HWA avoids Kim Yeon's gaze, who is staring at her silently, and restructures the new location into another command room. From now on, your name is Wawa, got it? Buck Hyung HWA only puffs up her cheeks at Kim Yeon's scolding. Kagagugu. How far have we excavated down the deep sea with the great mountain-splitting emperor technique and Jeon Myohoon's domain? I finally arrive at the location where the signal from the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon was connected. However, there is nothing there. Damn it, what's this? The signal from the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon was definitely connected in this vicinity. What's this, Seo Yoon-hyun? Didn't you say Kim Yeon is around here? Where is she? Jeon Myohoon asks, while spreading his domain to prevent the deep sea of the ancient force realm from encroaching. I close my eyes and operate the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon more precisely. Due to the countless overlapping waves of dimensions, my consciousness can't connect well. In the midst of this, I sense something. Jieving. Over there, Kim Yeon and the pirate gang are currently moving somewhere. What? Where are they moving to? I look diagonally upwards. It seems they are trying to rise to the surface. Did they detect us? Perhaps. All right, then let's chase after them. No, instead of chasing, let's rise back to the surface and head to a place where they are likely to emerge. Once they rise above a certain level, I can use the great mountain-splitting emperor technique to evaporate the deep sea. The leaders of the Wuji religious order nod and prepare to rise. Suddenly, I notice a strange shadow deep within the deep sea. It's the shadow of a sea dragon. And on the sea dragon's nape, there are characters written in the Netherworld's language that I learned from Black Ghost Valley. Blood Yin, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Lofty Dragon, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Ancient Force, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Myriad Realms Beneath, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Seed Dispersal. Black Yin Strategy, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Ancient Force Division, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, complete. Reading the written characters, my eyes brighten. I stare at the object for a moment and then extend my hand. Kugagugaguk. It's fixed in one place in the deep sea, similar to the deep sea island that Yeon Wei mentioned. On closer inspection, the body itself is a massive stone statue made of ancient stone. A stone statue carved into the shape of a sea dragon, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Kugaguguk. I compress the space with attraction force, forcibly tearing the statue fixed in the deep sea and take it into my embrace before rising. I need to investigate this. The appearance of the sea dragon race that Coh always takes. And Coh, who seems to have some connection with the Blood Yin realm. Coh, who always communicated with the Black Dragon King Hyun Eum as the Grand Prince of the Sea Dragon race. There might be a clue to their connection. TL/N, the Korean characters for Hyun Eum, are the same as Black Yin. The Hanja for Black Yin actually translates to Black Shade, but there's a likely chance it's a typo by the author, so I'm translating it as Black Yin. No, Wawa, you said he'd cherish his own ship. Who knew that despicable pirate would destroy his own ship to come for us? What are you going to do? He'll soon reach us again. You're the Unnai, do something about it. Stop saying stupid things. Kim Yeon and Buck Hyung HWA are busily moving their hands while exchanging words in a heated argument. In the midst of this, Beek Rin, who is beside them, opens his eyes. Kug, Conqueror King, Mysterious Bizarre Ghost King, I apologize, but where are we? Kim Yeon quickly conveys the current situation through consciousness, using the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. Beek Rin lets out a low sigh. So, you're saying we still have a long way to go to reach the surface, but Jin Mayol will soon catch us. Yes, if we get caught, the ship will be restored to its original state and will be stuck in the deep sea again. Yum. As they sigh with hardened faces, Yuk-Yo coughs and stands up. She wipes the blood from her mouth and takes a deep breath. I will be the bait. Baekhyang-Hwa and Kim Yeon flinch in surprise at her words. Baek Rin's eyes blaze with blue ghost fire. What are you talking about? Do you wish to die? However, Yuk-Yo only gives a bitter smile, unfazed by Baek Rin's pressure. What Jin Ma-yeol wants is me. In the first place, everyone was caught while trying to rescue me, so I should take responsibility. I will move around the salt bone ship to draw his attention. Meanwhile, the rest should pull the salt bone ship to the surface and escape. You foolish thing. How long do you think a mere nascent soul like you can run away for? My dragon form disguise method decreases the toughness of my skin and my attack power when I transform into a dragon, especially lowering my speed. That's why I was captured by the Wuji religious order initially. But following the advice of the Wuji Ghost King, I can now reverse this method. By doing so, I can maintain my form while becoming faster and stronger. Yuk-Yo's eyes are resolute. I've lived my life running and scamming. It's better for me to be captured than for the three of you. In fact, if it's me, I can scam my way out and escape more easily, so please don't worry. Before anyone can stop her, Yuk-Yo leaves the command room. Watching her, Baek Rin seems restless and speaks to Baekhyang-Hwa and Kim Yeon. I apologize, your highnesses. The cult leader ordered me to look after Yuk-Yo, so by the cult leader's command I must. Kim Yeon examines Baek Rin's intent and laughs lightly, nodding. Go ahead, Sir Baek Rin. As you said, she's just a nascent soul. If a four-axis like you accompanies her, you can stall for time properly. Thank you, your highness mysterious bizarre ghost king. Baek Rin quickly bows to Kim Yeon and immediately chases after Yuk-Yo, emitting a streak of light. Kim Yeon watches them leave, then once again uses her consciousness to sense the entire ship before speaking. Indeed, Jin Ma-yeol has changed directions from coming toward us to heading toward Yuk-Yo and Baek Rin. We need to reach the surface as soon as possible while they buy us time. Can you do it? Yes, Bahi. While infusing spiritual power into mechanical devices, Baekhyang-Hwa frowns. What's wrong? My spiritual power is depleted. Hey, Wawa, that's why I told you to reach the heavenly being stage quickly. Do you think it's as easy as it sounds? What's so hard about it? Kim Yeon chuckles and places her hand on Baekhyang-Hwa's back, infusing her with spiritual power. Weighing, connected through the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon, Baekhyang-Hwa blushes red the moment she feels Kim Yeon's spiritual power pouring into her. Wait, this person. For a moment, Baekhyang-Hwa seems to see a soft pink light. For Baekhyang-Hwa, who has received both consciousness and spiritual power from Kim Yeon, a part of Kim Yeon's emotions also flows in for a moment. Affection, longing, curiosity, joy, desire. They are emotions directed towards someone that cannot be described with words. But if one were to dare attach a name to it, it would be an emotion of warmth. For a moment, Baekhyang-Hwa feels as if she is in the embrace of her mother, Yeon, beyond that soft pink light. Wowung. The patterns on Baekhyang-Hwa's face glow brightly as if burning. Move aside, Unnai. Baekhyang-Hwa takes a breath and extends her hands. Simultaneously, the spider leg puppet attached to her back begins to move. Click, click. Click, 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 click. What's this? Kim Yeon looks at Baekhyang-Hwa with a slightly surprised expression. Her hands are moving even faster than before. Feeling as if Baekhyang-Hwa is possessed by something, Kim Yeon stares at her with a strange look. From now on, we will make the mechanical device we created go berserk all at once. It's not something we intended to use permanently anyway. It will cause the ship to quickly rise to the surface faster. Once we reach the sea surface, Yeon Unnai, please quickly contact the cult leader with your consciousness. If the cult leader sends even Sir Kim Young-hoon, the situation will be resolved in an instant. Wawa you. And Baekhyang-Hwa shouts at Kim Yeon. My name is Baekhyang-Hwa, not Buck Wawa. Kim Yeon smiles softly as she looks at her and pats Baekhyang-Hwa's head. Got it, Hyang-Hwa. Don't bring your face so close. It's already big and burdensome as is. As Kim Yeon's face draws closer, Baekhyang-Hwa blushes and gives a scolding remark. Kim Yeon playfully flicks Buk Hyung-hwa's forehead before they start controlling the salt bones shipped together. However, the two no longer argue as they did before. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 376, at the C6. Quang. From a corner of the salt bones ship, the area where alcohol is stored, an explosion echoes outwards. Due to spatial compression, the space, as large as a small city, is filled with an enormous amount of alcohol. From lower realm drinks like rice wine, moonshine, and wine, to high-quality middle realm liquors like spirit nectar, white red wine, and true moon dew, the enormous explosion just now has shattered their containers, causing the alcohol to flow throughout the storage area. Beek Rin, holding Yuk-yo with one arm, is breathing heavily in that space. Quagwagwagwang. Several members of the fighting ghost race, including Jin Mayol, fall before them. Jin Mayol, with an excited expression, smiles as his muscles bulge. All 5 of Jin Mayol's horns are vibrating simultaneously. This, fighting you who is holding Yuk-yo feels like I'm actually fighting Yuk-yo herself. I have no interest in Yuk-yo with her insect-like skills, but focusing only on her face during battle makes it feel like I'm doing what I wanted with Yuk-yo. It's very enjoyable. His face is flushed red. Beek Rin burst out with rage. Filthy bastard, do not look at her with those eyes. Who are you calling filthy? Yuk-yo is my betrothed, designated by the governing Dragon Palace Lord. On the contrary, isn't it rather you who is the one running away after kidnapping my betrothed? Who abuses their betrothed like that? Stop spouting nonsense. It's the traditional culture of our fighting ghost race. Is there a problem? If Yuk-yo doesn't want to be mistreated by me, she should also grow stronger, elevate her realm, and have a joyful battle together with me. Don't talk dog shit. Do you think I haven't encountered ghostly creatures of the fighting ghost race in the nether ghost realm? The fighting ghost race always takes those of the same realm as betrothed, and consider fighting in the same realm as virtue. What you are doing is simply bullying the weak. Is there a problem with disciplining a thief who stole my belongings? Jin Mayol smiles sinisterly and extends his palm towards Beek Rin and Yuk-yo. Kwang. A gigantic palm strike flies towards Beek Rin, who swiftly evades it. The enormous barrel of alcohol behind Beek Rin shatters in an instant, and the alcohol inside flows out, turning the nearby area into a sea of wine. Quajuduk. The sea of wine freezes due to Beek Rin's yin energy and ghostly energy, and ice spikes formed from the alcohol surge up. Without using any spells, Jin Mayol shatters the ice spikes purely with his physical strength and charges at Beek Rin. Come, bone fellow, stop with the nonsense and make me more joyful, make me happier. Kug. With an excited expression, Jin Mayol gathers energy in the air to create a chain sickle and swings it at Beek Rin. Quagagagak. The land of ice created by Beek Rin is shattered in one blow. Chwararak. Jin Mayol's chain sickle wriggles as if alive, continually chasing Beek Rin. Finally, the chain sickle descends towards Beek Rin. Yuk-yo tightly closes her eyes, and Beek Rin shouts as he emits ghost fire. White bone-shedding shell strategy, first form. Quang. It looks as if the chain sickle pierces through Beek Rin's body, but Beek Rin splits into hundreds and thousands of afterimages, all fleeing in different directions. Moreover, since all the afterimages are holding Yuk-yo, it's nearly impossible to tell which one is real. However, Jin Mayol licks his lips and becomes even more excited. Good, very good. If a bug-like creature can't fight, it should at least have the skills to run away to make it enjoyable to catch. With a highly excited expression, Jin Mayol swells his muscles and wildly swings his chain sickle in all directions. Quang. It's as if a storm of chain sickles is raging. After a while, 2/3 of Beek Rin's fleeing afterimages in the hall are annihilated, and the remaining third is being quickly destroyed by Jin Mayol's hunting. Stop there, resist more, ha, make me happier. The real Beek Rin and Yuk-yo, without looking back at the chilling voice behind them, exit the alcohol storage. Yuk-yo grabs Beek Rin's chest and shakes him. It's enough now, leave me and run away. If you're alone, you can surely escape, right? But Beek Rin burns with ghost fire in his eyes and speaks firmly. No. Why not? Didn't you become a ghostly creature because you didn't want to die? Jin Mayol is an integration stage grand cultivator. If you get him excited, he'll pounce on you in heat even if you're a ghostly creature. But Beak Rin shakes his head with a resolute face. The cult leader commanded me to take care of you, so I won't run away leaving you behind. What crazy talk. If you die, it's over. Let me go. I'm telling you to abandon me. Yuk-Yo tries to push Beak Rin away and escape from his embrace, but Beak Rin holds her tighter and says, "A long time ago, I once left my friends behind and ran away." Beak Rin recalls the events in the Nether Ghost Realm, the betrayal of Wei Shihan, and the capture of Iamwa by the Wuji religious order. Now he himself is devotedly loyal and inspired by the magnificent Wuji religious order, but at that time, it felt like the sky was falling. And I had to pay a price for that. The event that shattered Beak Rin's heart happened afterward. I liked Iamwa first, but Beak Rin ran away, leaving Iamwa behind. Because of that, Iamwa married Wei Shihan. Thus, Beak Rin had to lose the one he loved to his best friend. That was the price of running away. I will never run away again. Beak Rin, hugging Yuk-Yo, exits the alcohol storage and runs towards the food storage. The food storage is actually smaller than the alcohol storage, about the size of a small village at most. However, it's filled with the carcasses of giant demon beasts and all sorts of food, and Beak Rin hides behind the massive bones of a demon beast that's against the wall with Yuk-Yo. When Beak Rin forms a hand seal, the bones of the demon beast moves and cleverly conceals them. Do not worry, my white bone shedding shell strategy has even evaded the pursuit of the 6 Extremes Ghost King of our order who prides himself on his lightning speed. He won't find us easily. He speaks while panting, and Yuk-Yo, after looking at Beak Rin for a moment, smiles. Would you like to know a secret of our clan? Suddenly, our clan in the distant past had an ancestor from the sea dragon race. That's why we have some sea dragon blood within us, although we are a hybrid of carp and sea dragon. Anyway, my father, being from the carp lineage, succeeded in dragon transformation and became a part of the dragon race. What does that have to do with the current situation? It's important. The black dragon race has the authority to govern all yin aspects of heaven and earth, and as a branch of the black dragon race, the sea dragon race has the authority to govern all seas of heaven and earth. She continues her explanation. The sea dragon race is far inferior to the black dragon race in handling yin energy, but they are actually more specialized in controlling the sea. And the sea that the sea dragon race can handle is not limited to just salt water. Yuk-Yo's eyes sparkle. The sea of the ancient force realm can also be controlled to some extent. No, to be precise, the sea dragon race is the only race that can rise to the surface from the sea of the ancient force realm without an ancient stone. They can find the paths of the sea. She begins to undo her top. Exposing her chest, Yuk-Yo points to the vicinity of her heart. Take my heart. The sea dragon true blood I contain is very inferior and insignificant, so my father treated me like trash, though that's why I was able to survive. Last time, I awakened a bit more of the sea dragon true blood thanks to the energy from Sir Seal Ran. After taking my heart, the source of my sea dragon energy, pierce through the ship and swim through the sea of the ancient force realm to the sea surface. Beak Rin looks at Yuk-Yo's face for a moment before speaking. Why would you go to such lengths for me? Yuk-Yo's body and voice trembles as she speaks. I kept deceiving and trying to escape, but the only one who treated me consistently is you. At those words, Beak Rin is silent for a moment, and then arranges Yuk-Yo's clothes. I don't need it, At that moment, Kyuang, the door to the food storage shatters, and Jin Mayol walks in with a sinister smile. I've caught all the runaway clones. I know you're in there, come out. Beak Rin flinches. He can tell. Jin Mayol's consciousness is pinpointing exactly where Beak Rin and Yuk-Yo are hiding. Beak Rin steps forward with Yuk-Yo in front of Jin Mayol. How did you find all those clones so quickly? Jin Mayol chuckles. I'm a hunter. I excel at tracking, hiding, and hunting. The same goes for the crew members of my pirate gang who learned these skills. In fact, I already knew your location. He points to Yuk-Yo's chest. Has it been just once or twice that deceitful thing tried to escape? I placed a tracking spell on that carp's heart. As long as she doesn't have the courage to rip out her own heart, you were always in my grasp. Yuk-Yo shrinks at his words. Beak Rin glances at Yuk-Yo briefly. Jin Mayol, seeing Yuk-Yo's demeanor, exclaims as if realizing something. I think I know what scam that scammer tried to pull on you. Did she perhaps tell you something like, if you take my heart, you can escape, or something of the sort? Beak Rin remains silent, and Yuk Yo shrinks even more. Jin Mayo laughs out loud as he reads Yuk Yo's intent. So it's true. Last time I cast a similar spell on her leg and she escaped by giving her lower body to one of my subordinates. Since she reached the nascent soul stage, losing a major part like that wouldn't kill her, so it isn't even an issue. Haha, how do you feel? Do you still intend to protect that thing? I'll give you one last chance. Hand over Yuk Yo and get lost. You seem to have exhausted your energy anyway, so I can't even get excited. I'll let you escape. Yuk Yo bites her lip hard. However, Beak Rin does not move. Rather, he only lights up the circuits implanted by Kim Yon, igniting his fighting spirit. What's this? Didn't I tell you she deceived you? However, Beak Rin only ignites his ghost fire. It doesn't matter. I was never interested, nor did I plan to run away. Ho, you're brimming with momentum. Beak Rin stands his ground, blocking the path to Yuk Yo, while Yuk Yo looks at him with a complicated expression. Good, I like people like that too. Come then, serve me more. Jin Mayol, excited by Beak Rin's refusal to back down, begins to approach them with an excited expression. And then it happens. Kagagugu. The ship suddenly shakes violently, and the heaven and earth spiritual energy changes. Reading the change in the spiritual energy, Yuk Yo's eyes brighten, while Jin Mayol frowns. Damn it. Sir Beak Rin, the salt bone ship has surfaced. As soon as Yuk Yo's words are heard, Beak Rin scatters a spell towards the wall, instantly creating a hole. What appears is not the dark, gloomy dimension of the deep sea, but a clear seascape. Pay it. Beak Rin quickly grabs Yuk Yo and escapes using the flying escape technique. Jin Mayol, with an enraged expression, chases after the two demon spirits and extends his hand. Kagagugu. Traction force of an integration stage, Grand Cultivator emits from his hand, pulling Beak Rin and Yuk Yo towards him. Having exhausted his strength, Beak Rin begins to be dragged towards Jin Mayol. He grits his teeth. Damn, is this how it ends? Yuk Yo's betrayal doesn't affect him at all. Though it's fine now, he had been betrayed by a closer friend before, and he had his first love taken by that friend as well. Beak Rin exhales as he feels the ghost fire in his eyes dimming. Still, a conqueror king and the mysterious bizarre ghost king, those two should be able to escape. With this, my duty is done. And then, Kuang. A beam of light from somewhere explodes on Jin Mayol's arm. Beak Rin, with his mouth agape in disbelief, looks towards the direction where the beam came from. Your Highness, why did you not flee? It's Kim Yon and Buck Hyang-hwa. Pay it. The two puppeteers, riding on a puppet with each of their heads emerging from the puppet's head, swiftly rush forward and snatch Beak Rin and Yuk Yo, who are being dragged by Jin Mayol. Don't worry, as good news is on the way. Kim Yon says with a bright smile as she flies away quickly, and Buck Hyang-hwa reassuringly smiles in agreement. Behind them, the furious integration stage Grand Cultivator, Jin Mayol, begins to pursue them. Chwararuruk. He swings his chain sickle once, and the puppet is sliced in half. But as Buck Hyang-hwa manipulates something, the four people inside the puppet are immediately ejected forward. Buck Hyang-hwa shouts as she signals to the puppet. General Buck self-destruct. Quang. The puppet they ejected from self-destructs, creating a cloud of smoke. But Jin Mayol pushes through the mist and catches up right behind them, swinging his chain sickle. Kim Yon gathers the heaven and earth spiritual energy, and Beak Rin emits repulsive force. However, Jin Mayol's chain sickle ignores all their defenses and splits Kim Yon's right arm, Buck Hyang-hwa's upper body, and Beak Rin's skull in half. Kugyak. Buck Hyang-hwa vomits blood, and Kim Yon quickly regenerates her arm, shrinking her consciousness domain. The consciousness domain, gathered in the form of a fingernail on Kim Yon's left arm, momentarily appears to be tinged with a pink hue before launching as a massive slash towards Jin Mayol. Quang. It's the martial art Kim Yon occasionally used to shatter the Wuji religious order's training formations, emitting immense power. Jin Mayol looks to ignore it and charge forward, but his expression changes drastically for a moment, and he unfolds his domain to defend against Kim Yon's strike. Taking advantage of that gap, Kim Yon swiftly uses the flying escape technique while holding the others. Sir Beak Rin, are you all right? Yes, I'm a ghostly creature, so it doesn't matter. Buck Hyung HWA, are you okay? But Buck Hyung HWA does not answer. Kim Yeon can immediately identify the cause. Her nascent soul is injured. Buck Hyung HWA, wake up, get a grip. Kim Yeon's voice trembles. She quickly uses consciousness threads to seal the wound and support the nascent soul from dispersing, but Buck Hyung HWA, her breath faint, only looks up at Kim Yeon with blurry eyes. Buck Hyung HWA, wake up, I won't call you Wawa anymore, so, don't die please. Kwang. Jin Mayol, who has shaken off Kim Yeon's slash, is chasing after them from behind. This, I didn't realize it before, but the mysterious bizarre Ghost King is quite the impressive fighter as well. Licking his lips, he follows Kim Yeon with a chained sickle and a grotesque sword in both hands. In an instant, Jin Mayol catches up with Kim Yeon and raises his grotesque sword. Now take this as well. The next moment, Jin Mayol is split in half. Kwang. As Kim Yeon looks back, preparing for another strike, she collides with something massive while flying. Tears well up in Kim Yeon's eyes. Iyun Hyan, Buck Hyung HWA is, right now. Got it. The Ghost King with 19 heads gestures to the giant centipede behind him. The giant centipede quickly brings a floating magic artifact, lays down Beak Rin, Kim Yeon, and Buck Hyung HWA, and begins treating them. I look with a cold gaze at Jin Mayol, whose split body is reattaching in front of me. He licks his lips with an excited expression. His vibrating horns are for some reason quite unpleasant. It's the best. Wuji cult leader, will you entertain me as well? Let's compete. It's a pity you have the form of a ghostly creature, but with a strong opponent like you, it doesn't matter. Let us intertwine our bodies together and dance. Ha ha ha. This excitement I couldn't feel even with that 6 Extremes Ghost King. Hurry, come at me. I stare at him briefly, before gathering both hands with curses and blessings. Great mountain. What W8, damn it, you coward. Don't do that, let's clash body to body while we fight. Splitting Emperor. A pure white light envelops heaven and earth. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 377, with everyone one. TSDSDSDSDSDSDS. As the power of the great mountain splitting emperor technique fades, the nearby sea domain comes back into view. It's a direct hit. The one called Jin Mayol is obliterated into nothingness. However, I can't shake off the lingering sense of discomfort. That guy. He escaped. Though his physical body is destroyed, I felt him flying away through the plane of soul to resurrect somewhere else. In hindsight, it's always been like this. The day I first arrived in the ancient force realm. That day, after battling Kim Young-hoon, I used the great mountain splitting emperor technique, and all the cultivators at the 4-axis and integration stage within its range were annihilated. Even Jin Mayol, who was within the range. However, that guy resurrected again. Although he doesn't seem like he would resurrect 7 times like Yuan Li, he is quite the troublesome opponent. Kagagugu. In the distance, I see the Salt Bone ship, from which Kim Yeon and Buck Hyung HWA had escaped, submerging back into the depths of the sea of the ancient force realm. Zeruriru. A strange sound is coming from the keel of the distant Salt Bone ship. Perhaps it's because the Salt Bone ship has its entire keel made from the rare and precious salt crystals, which is causing it to react to the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. Bowung. I launch a slash towards the submerging Salt Bone ship, and before it's completely submerged, its bow is cleanly sliced off. Salt crystals, huh? Salt crystals are also related to the great mountain-splitting emperor technique. Well, I expected it since the character Salt Chinese letter was used. The reason salt crystal is called what it is not only because of its pure white appearance, but also because it tastes salty when licked. In essence, salt crystal is a mineral very similar to salt. Is it a battleship that can freely dive into the depths of the deep sea of the ancient force realm through the use of salt crystals? No wonder the Fighting Demon Pirate Gang is such a notorious group. After briefly watching the spot where the Fighting Demon Pirate Gang disappears, I turn my gaze to Kim Yeon and Buck Hyung HWA. How are their conditions? Hong Fan, now in human form, is stroking his beard with a gentle expression. Fortunately, they've overcome the critical juncture, especially since the Conqueror King's nascent soul was held together by the consciousness of the mysterious bizarre Ghost King. Even though her nascent soul was injured, there's no major issue. I approach Buck Hyung HWA and Kim Yeon. Kim Yeon, as expected, seems quite exhausted. As the tension eased, she fell asleep while holding Buck Hyung HWA tightly, tears streaming down his face. Haha, Lady Kim Yeon won't let go of the Conqueror King. Hong Fan laughs heartily, pointing at the two of them. I return to human form, smiling at the sight of the two. Let's go back. Thus, the incident involving the kidnapping of the followers by the pirate gang comes to an end. I wish it could have really ended there. After sending the remaining followers to the Wuji religious order in the Black Domain, I look up at the sky with a cold gaze. I can read the celestial energy. Yes, the ancient force realm is a world where there is no sky, making it impossible to read celestial energy. But for some reason, I can now see the celestial energy. Celestial energy is actually the flow of attraction force emitted by stars. And I can feel the flow of attraction force from the sky directed towards me. Is it a calamity? Chinese letter. It isn't normal celestial energy. Normal celestial energy should allow one to read the future. However, this celestial energy only allows me to feel a single pull of attraction. It's the celestial energy of misfortune. And it's very strange and suspicious that suddenly, in a world where celestial energy can't be seen, I can see just this one. Having navigated through numerous misfortunes and disasters, I can tell. Someone has bestowed this. This celestial energy is clearly artificial. Upon reaching the 4-axis stage, one can see a wider variety of celestial energy in different types, natures, and ranges. And definitely, among the celestial energy I saw in the night of the Nether Ghost Realm, there was no such misfortune. In short, I can only conclude that this misfortune was bestowed upon me after I came to the ancient force realm. Thinking back, it was indeed strange. How the first guy we caught in the ancient force realm is a scammer. The palace lord I sought for an alliance only desires to stab us in the back. And after sending my consciousness to the lower realms to build the health axis, the main body got split in two and confronted a true person. Even when I returned, my comrades had been kidnapped, and upon rescuing them, they were on the verge of death. Though I've faced such misfortune in life more than a few times, the frequency this time is too high. It's clearly bad luck. I glare at the sky. I still have no clue who has bestowed this misfortune upon me. However, if someone can impose such a fate, it's certainly not a being of insignificant power, and I can't help but think they do not harbor goodwill towards me. Of course, there's the possibility it's a being that can only bestow misfortune. This is driving me crazy. This world is really. I sigh. But there's nothing I can do right now. Even misfortune can't last forever. I'll wait until the misfortune passes. After glaring at the sky one last time, I return to the Black Sea domain. Perhaps because of all that happened, or the shocking truth I have discovered, my shoulders feel inexplicably stiff. Upon returning to the Black Sea domain, I received a report from Beak Rin, who recovered the fastest among the four. Thus, we were able to escape from the Salt Bones ship and be rescued by the cult leader and company. Thank you for the detailed explanation. After receiving the report, I ponder one thing Beak Rin mentioned that caught my attention. Yuk Yo is a descendant of the sea dragon race. Although Beak Rin suggests it's likely a lie, I believe that part to be true. When considering the reports from Buck Hyung HWA, Kim Yeon, and Kim Young Hoon, who faced Yuk Yo's dragon form, they noted it was quite similar to the sea dragon race except for the color. Moreover, when I asked Seo Ran why he slept with Yuk Yo, he mentioned there was a faint sense of familiarity despite the influence of the aphrodisiac. Putting it all together, while it's true that Yuk Yo deceived Beak Rin, the part about being of sea dragon lineage is likely true. Kuang. After briefly expanding the space underground in the Wuji religious hall, I take out the statue of the sea dragon race that I have brought from the deep sea. It appeared dark in the deep sea, but when taken out in the dark basement, it shines quite brightly. Well, it's made of ancient stone after all. I spent some time investigating the sea dragon statue by infusing it with spiritual energy and consciousness. Even when I infused it with the energy of an immortal beast, the statue of the sea dragon showed no reaction. It's purely a statue carved from ancient stone. After observing the statue for a while, I call Seo Ran and Song Jin. Not long after, they come down to the basement, and I show them the statue. This is the sea dragon statue I found when rescuing Buck Hyung Hwa and Kim Yeon. Have you ever seen something similar before? Seo Ran stares at the statue intently for a moment before exclaiming, I've seen it before. You have? Yes. While reading the history books of the Sea Dragon race in the Sea Dragon Palace, there was an illustration exactly like this. The Sea Dragon race, or rather most of the dragon races including the Sea Dragon race, are descendants of the entering Nirvana true dragon whose remains are left in the bright cold realm. According to the history books, one of the true dragon's bloodlines mixed with the black dragon's bloodline, leading to the birth of the black dragon race. Some members of this race crossed into the ancient force realm and mutated into the Sea Dragon race, marking the beginning. After that, the Sea Dragon race born in the ancient force realm descended and spread its lineage in numerous lower realms for some reason. I think I understand the meaning of lofty dragon, ancient force, beneath myriad realms. It means that the seed of the Sea Dragon, born from lofty dragon true person, blossomed in the ancient force realm and scattered into the countless lower realms. However, there is something strange. But why is there blood yin before lofty dragon? No matter how much I think about it, blood yin doesn't seem to have any relation to the dragon race. At that moment, Seo Ran speaks with an excited expression. This is truly a historical treasure of immense value to the Sea Dragon race. To think I'd see a treasure mentioned in the history books in real life. What is it that makes you so excited? This is the Jade seal, imperial seal of the first Sea Dragon King, Ya-Eum Purple Yin. Even the Jade seals currently scattered throughout the world. In other words, even the one grandfather Seo Hwa holds as a symbol of the Sea Dragon King's authority in the head realm are just replicas of this purple soul Jade seal, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. How incredible. With an incredibly excited expression, Seo Ran clings to the Sea Dragon statue called Purple Soul Jade Seal as if he would lick it. Watching him, I suddenly have a question and ask. So the first Sea Dragon King doesn't have the Chinese letter /Seo, lit, auspicious surname. Yes. The first Sea Dragon King used the surname Ya, Chinese letter /Purple. However, since all of his descendants, the Sea Dragon race, carry his blood, it doesn't matter much. The royal authority of the Sea Dragon race is determined by whether or not they inherit the Sea Authority Jade Seal, the imitation of the Purple Soul Jade Seal. I'm startled by those words and look alternately at Seo Ran and the Purple Soul Jade Seal. Then, since you have obtained the first Sea Dragon King's Jade Seal. That's not the case. Seo Ran shakes his head with a bitter smile. Regrettably, the only way to be recognized as the owner of the Jade Seal and gain kingship is to inherit it directly from the previous owner. Only the person recognized by the Jade Seal can know the secret history and purpose of the Sea Dragon race hidden within the seal. As I wasn't recognized by the previous owner, the Purple Soul Jade Seal is just a treasure of historical value for me. Is that so? That's regrettable. Songjin and I sigh almost simultaneously. If Seo Ran became the Sea Dragon King, it might have influenced the Sea Dragon race that is currently being consumed by Seo Hwa's tainted soul filling the heavens. Perhaps we might have also understood why Seo Hwa continues to take on the form of a sea dragon. May I study it a bit more? Do as you wish, and regarding Yuk Yo, I convey the information I received from Beek Rin to Seo Ran. You mean Yuk Yo might also be a descendant of the Sea Dragon race? That's right, so when Yuk Yo wakes up, ask her whatever you need to. Understood. Wait, Seo Ran. At that moment, Songjin asks Seo Ran with a puzzled expression. Isn't that carp called Yuk Yo a scammer? Didn't the cult leader say Beek Rin told him that the carp scammed until the end? Can you really get a proper answer from that fish? It's fine. I can interrogate her with Shiho. Because that carp is afraid of Shiho. There's that too, and... Songjin looks a bit surprised at Seo Ran's next words. Shiho is also a martial artist of 5 energies converging to the origin. By looking at intent, she can discern lies, so there will be no lies. That fox, since when? I burst into laughter at Songjin's reaction. What Seo Ran knew but you didn't. I apologize for not knowing. Shiho, interestingly enough, got hit by Kim Young-hoon so many times that she somehow learned martial arts and reached 5 energies converging to the origin. Since the demon race and 5 energies converging to the origin go well together, Shiho's combat power must have significantly increased. Well, in any case, as long as that fox can distinguish between truth and lies, it should be fine. Let's go. Yes, master. Then, cult leader, we will take our leave. Go ahead. Seo Ran and Songjin leave with the sea dragon statue, the purple soul jade seal. I restore the space to its original state and fall into thought. The term that's written at the end, Black Yin strategy. It's undoubtedly the name of the Black Dragon King, Hyun Eum. Hyun Eum Ja Eum. And Blood Yin Hyol Eum. Anyone who isn't a fool will find it worth considering what kind of connection there might be between the three. Various miscellaneous thoughts cross my mind, but they are all just delusions without any solid basis. What is the relationship between Blood Yin, Hyun Eum, and Ya Eum? What exactly is Coatrial up to? I fall into complex thoughts and then shake my head to clear my mind. Enough, there's nothing I can do right now. This world is one where insidious and treacherous traps and calamities lay hidden. However, one of the few advantages of this world is that one can continue to become stronger. Let's elevate my realm. Continue to build the health axis and grow. I recall the words of the Mad Lord. He said only a stronger power can overcome fate. Gaining greater power and status will be advantageous in uncovering Coatrial's secrets. I swing my arm to create a seated detachment, standing Oblivion avatar, while my main body lies down on the cult leader's seat, extending my consciousness into the flying immortal formation. The urgent matter is to build the health axis as soon as possible. I leave my main body to build the health axis while the seated detachment, standing Oblivion avatar heads to the Wuji Religious Order's Poison Research Hall. Most followers of the Wuji Religious Order are ghostly creatures, so there's little need for a medical hall. Thus, no such place exists. Therefore, the place where Buck Hyang-HWA and others are receiving treatment is the Poison Research Hall, where Hong Fan studies poisons. Since poison can be used as medicine with the right ratio adjustments, this is possible. When I enter the room where Buck Hyang-HWA is resting, I find Kim Yeon dozing off while nursing her. They've gotten quite close. When they first met, they growled at each other like they were ready to tear each other apart. But now, even while sleeping, they hold hands. I fetch a blanket nearby and cover the sleeping Kim Yeon with it, then check Buck Hyang-HWA's condition. Fortunately, thanks to the medicine Hong Fan administered, her nascent soul has significantly improved. After infusing a bit of vital energy into both of them, I quietly leave the room. As I exit, Kim Young-hoon is waiting for me with his arms crossed. What brings you here? I have something to tell you. Perfect timing, I have something to ask you too. What is it? I ask Kim Young-hoon the question I received from Jang Ik. If you had to cut something that is impossible to cut, what would you do? Something impossible to cut, like what? For example, something like a planet. After thinking for a moment, Kim Young-hoon replies, I can't cut a planet, but I can cut something similar. Pardon? He grins widely and says, well, I'll explain that a bit later, but more importantly, what do you think? After seeing that pirate, don't you have a better grasp of what martial arts Chinese letter is? // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 378, with everyone too. Hearing Kim Young-hoon's words, I picture the figure that regenerated their body even after my attack, furiously charging at me in an intense state of arousal. He seems to possess extremely favorable conditions for martial arts training. Every time they swing their weapon, every time they are hit, and every time they fight their opponent. A race that doesn't just get excited, but becomes aroused during combat. Whether it's martial arts or the Earth Tribe's methods, this race has immense advantages in learning anything related to fighting. No wonder they are paired with the human race, who love to eat and exploit other races, as one of the two evils. Honestly, their sticky intent is somewhat unpleasant, but aside from that, they seem to be the race with the best conditions for becoming a warrior, Chinese letter. Seeing my reaction, Kim Young-hoon smirks. Do you now understand why I said he's not a martial artist, Chinese letter? I ponder for a moment before shaking my head. I'm sorry, to be honest, I really don't understand. Why isn't he a martial artist? I genuinely don't know. I decide to be honest rather than pretend to understand. Kim Young-hoon gathers energy from the air to create a chi weapon, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. A golden saber made of energy appears in his hand. What does it look like I'm holding? A blade. I respond immediately, seeing the intent imbued in his saber. Correct, a martial artist is someone who wields weapons. Kim Young-hoon and I continue our conversation as we walk outside the hall. Boing. Reaching the edge of the twilight domain, Kim Young-hoon swings the saber in his hand at me. What did I just use on you? A martial technique. Correct, we are people who practice martial techniques. He swings the saber again. This time, he swings it with a genuine goal to cut me, so I draw my all-heaven sword and counter his swing. Pay it. Though both of us imbue immense power in our weapons, capable of splitting the sea, we control our strength perfectly and cause no significant shockwaves. What collided between us? Meaning Chinese letter. Correct. Martial artists are those who wield weapons to create martial techniques, and with those moves, clash meaning. Wowen. His eyes glow with a golden light. Ultimately, it's all about meaning, and that meaning is our sole Chinese letter. Since we imbue various meanings and display our artistry Chinese letter through those meanings, even if we wield weapons and fight, we do not become lost in the fight itself. But do you remember what that fighting ghost race held in his hands? I recall Jin Mayol, who tried to charge at me with lustful eyes. What he held wasn't just a simple chain sickle and sword. Desire, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. He was enveloped in sticky lust, Chinese letter, and completely lost in it. I see. I finally understand what Kim Young-hoon is trying to convey. Are you trying to convey that martial arts Chinese letter is about what you imbue into your weapon? Something like that. It reminds me of an incident from before. Come down. Tuong. After saying so, Kim Young-hoon descends downward. It's the deep sea of the ancient force realm. Tuong. He still manages to step on the dimension above the deep sea like before. You are definitely strong. However, if what I sensed back then was not mistaken, your martial arts Chinese letter are incomplete. Well, since I do mix heaven and earth tribe methods and puppet techniques, you could say that. That's not what I'm talking about. He shakes his head. I just said it. Martial arts Chinese letter is about what you imbue in your weapon. Yes, you did. But how many weapons do you have? Sploosh splash. The surface of the dimension ripples as the deep sea beneath Kim Young-hoon's feet quivers. Last time, I pondered why you couldn't step on the surface of this dimension. At our level, this shouldn't be so difficult, yet you struggled. So I pondered and soon found the answer. He smiles. Martial arts is about contemplating what to imbue in your weapon. However, you have too many weapons. Moreover, you are not imbuing meaning to all of your weapons. Hence, your martial arts is incomplete, and because your martial arts is not complete, your martial realm is unstable, preventing you from stepping on the dimension's surface. Pay it. The golden saber he holds seems to shine brilliantly. You asked how to cut stars, right? While I can't cut real stars, I can cut something similar. Chuak. As he swings the saber, the sea appears to ripple and split, revealing countless fragments of worlds beneath the dimensional sea. Among them are fragments of worlds glimmering with starlight. Kim Young-hoon swings his saber towards one of those fragments. He spins once in the air. His saber traces a circle. The next moment, the starlight is cleaved. Following the trajectory of the circle he drew, the light in this sea domain splits. Rip. Split sky, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. An illusion of the sky splitting in two appears throughout the entire sea domain. Kim Young-hoon wipes his sweat and laughs heartily. I know you have many weapons, and you properly imbue meaning into at least 3 or 4 of them, but you don't imbue meaning into the other miscellaneous ones. So, either discard all the miscellaneous ones, or if you don't want to discard them, make all of them truly yours. If you do that, I feel like I am catching a clue on how to solve Jang Ik's task through Kim Young-hoon. You'll be able to sufficiently cut starlight. Chua. The split sky returns to normal. A divine skill, Chinese letter, where he didn't cut the space itself, but merely the light within it. I bow my head to Kim Young-hoon in gratitude. Thank you for your guidance. I have found the path I need to take. As expected. After bowing to Kim Young-hoon, I draw the pado in my heart essence. The greenish pado is held in my hands. I have the confidence to shatter an entire sea domain with a single swing of this pado. No, not merely a sea domain. As Jang Ik said, I could even split a star. However, I don't use the Pado for such things. Instead, I swing the Pado towards Kim Young-hoon's heart essence. Quang! Jang Ik's Pado plunges into Kim Young-hoon's heart essence. It seems to embed itself into the head of the Peng bird, and then disappears into the Peng's body. He blinks and asks, "What's this? It doesn't seem to be your heart essence." Try infusing your heart essence into the Pado and communicate with it. You'll meet an interesting person. Jang Ik's disciple should be Kim Young-hoon. Thank you for the advice. I'll be on my way now. After delivering Jang Ik's single strike to Kim Young-hoon and giving him a clue to communicate with Jang Ik, I return. It's a brief moment, but what I gained from Kim Young-hoon is immense. Yes, he's right. I have learned too much in my current state. Then, can I assign meaning to all those things and use them properly? No. I thought I had unified heaven and earth tribe methods and martial arts while creating the sword formation with Hong Suryeong. But in hindsight, it wasn't unification. It was merely creating another weapon. I wield the all-heaven sword and start performing the severing mountain swordsmanship from beginning to end in a simplified manner. From the first move, transcending peaks, to the 30th move, deep mountain emerging Tao. It's time to create the 31st move. I head to the Wuji Religious Hall's training grounds and begin organizing everything I have learned so far. Starting from 5 surpassing paths to cultivation, to the methods of the Chungmun clan, Thousand Lustrous Forest Sea, Mad Lord Circuits, Mysterious Bizarre Goo, Silica Earth Great Wall Practice, Yin Soul Ghost Incantation, White Orchid Blessing Incantation, Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method, Extinguishing Divine Tribulating Heavens Technique and Lightning Path Methods, Canvas of Myriad Forms and Connections, 6 Extremes Yin Thunder Body, and Great Desert to Dead Sea. I've learned quite a lot. I even created many things myself. Including the Black Blade maturing secrets I made recently, there are quite a few things I created and used personally. I recall countless method formulas and reflect on Kim Young-hoon's words. I have many weapons, but I don't imbue meaning into all of them. Then what should I do? How can I imbue meaning into my weapons? There's only one way. I unfold the Severing Mountain swordsmanship. And in accordance with the moves of Severing Mountain swordsmanship, I begin to compare the method formula of numerous cultivation methods. I will meld all my methods into one. And I will unify cultivation methods and martial arts techniques. It isn't just about melding heaven, earth, and heart, as in the latter part of Severing Mountain swordsmanship. It will be a process of integrating everything I have learned so far into one. Let's begin. To cut down a star. And to move forward. No matter how many years it takes, even if I have to undergo hellish training, I must achieve it. And with that, 10 years pass. It's not easy. I have successfully integrated Yin Soul Ghost Incantation, White Orchid Blessing Incantation, Black Blood Tears Flower, 6 Extremes Yin Thunder Body, and Great Desert to Dead Sea into my sword. But swordsmanship consists of martial techniques. Even if such cultivation methods are all incorporated into a single movement, a sequence of movements coming together forms a martial technique. And in the linkage and connection of all those martial techniques, I must incorporate the cultivation methods into each and every one of the changes that are created. It's so far away. Honestly, I started this recklessly, and I have no idea when it will end. But I continue with the process. 20 years have passed. The misfortune I felt last time is neither just my intuition nor a delusion. I still feel it from the heavens above. Even though I consulted with others like Yon Wei and Song Jin, it seems they can't see the celestial energy that I can see. Yon Wei insisted that I must be possessed by an evil spirit and tried to perform an exorcism ritual on me by burning me at the stake, so I had to hang her upside down to bring her to her senses. However, this isn't just my misunderstanding. Misfortunes are coming and persisting without end. There are frequent attacks from other sea domains, often resulting in kidnappings of followers. We always manage to rescue them, and those who are kidnapped once are careful enough to avoid such incidents again, but it still leaves me feeling uneasy. Recently, a nascent soul stage demon beast and half-human, half-fish hybrid named Wai Yun has been committing arson and attacking followers across various branches of the Wuji religious order. Though I want to capture and interrogate her, every time I try, she would hide somewhere, making it extremely frustrating. As I perform my duties as the Wuji cult leader, I continue to build the health axis and focus on melding my cultivation methods and martial arts into one. 30 years pass. Qduk Wajiduk. During training, a heart demon appeared. I succeeded in melding all my cultivation methods into a single martial technique. But the problem is after that. I have to integrate and apply all these cultivation methods into the countless changes of the Severing Mountain swordsmanship. It's so far away. My talent is so severely lacking. Qjuduk Wajiduk Waduk Waduk. Chi deviation and heart demons come to find me, and I am in the process of devouring the heart demon before me. I can do it, I can do it, I can. With my eyes rolled back, I gulped down the heart demon while shouting. I must do it. I have long grown tired of sitting down and crying about my lack of talent in despair. I am nearly 4,000 years old now. At this age, I can't just sit down and cry like a child using talent as an excuse. I will do it. No, I must do it. Talent is just an excuse. If I lack talent, I will just grind my body down and challenge it until I succeed. It's something I've experienced multiple times before. So, I will do it. Without sitting down, I stand up, wield my sword, and continue melting my cultivation methods. 40 years have passed. It seems that once I immerse myself in training, my characteristic is to fall into madness. At some point, I started accelerating my mind in training as I did a long time ago. When I finally come to my senses, I can't tell how much time has passed. What's clear is that while melding all my cultivation methods into the Severing Mountain swordsmanship, I felt like I didn't have enough time. How many times have I repeated this insanity? I am confident that I have melded all my cultivation methods into the initial moves of Severing Mountain swordsmanship, from the 1st to 12th. Now, only the middle and late sections remain. Let's go, let's go. I continue integrating cultivation methods while hunting deep-sea monsters. 50 years pass. How many times have I gone mad while fighting deep-sea monsters and building the health axis? Finally, I succeeded in integrating all my cultivation methods into all 30 moves of Severing Mountain swordsmanship. Now, the only task left is to meld my cultivation methods into the hundreds of thousands of changes and connections of Severing Mountain swordsmanship. Kerahata. Kyojujujuduk. I tear off the face of a heart demon that is lingering and bothering me, and at the same time smash in the head of a deep-sea monster to extract an ancient stone. Surprisingly, this deep-sea monster must have been quite strong, as there is a huge ancient stone embedded in its head, and at the center of the stone is a rare supervisory jade. Humming, I extract the supervisory jade and see my face reflected on it. Why is it? I feel that my appearance resembles Jin Mayol, who charged at me like crazy. Then does that mean I am not a martial artist? Is what I am doing not martial arts? I think of asking Kim Young-hoon if I am a martial artist or not, but then I remember that Kim Young-hoon hasn't been seen recently. He's probably in a secluded place communicating with Jang Ik. With his talent, how would Jang Ik react? What enlightenment would he gain from Jang Ik? Could he surpass the barrier, enter seated detachment, standing oblivion, and show me hope for the next realm? While thinking such thoughts, I feel pathetic about myself. It's disdain for myself, thinking that Kim Young-hoon would go to the next realm first and then tell me about it. And with that disdain, I realize that I am still a martial artist. The very desire for the next realm, the very yearning for a higher level of martial arts, makes me realize I am different from Jin Mayol. The fighting steps of the fighting ghost race are filled with nothing but lust, but my martial arts are filled with a longing for a higher place. Though small, I take solace in that fact and continue to train in martial arts. 60 years have passed. Galilia. Finally, I have melded all my cultivation methods into every martial technique. According to the followers, it's been about 70 years in real time, but with my accelerated mind, it feels like hundreds of years have passed. However, I am not pleased. Just why is this happening? Why? I wield my sword. With every martial technique of my sword, countless methods follow. This sword is a curse, a blessing, the grace of my master, the fruit of my efforts, the heart of Seo Lee, the will of the golden divine heavenly thunder sect, the research of the Black Ghost Valley, and the tenacity of the Azure Heaven creation sect. And the canvas of myriad forms and connections permeates into the martial techniques. TSDSDSDSDSDSDSDS. Gallia. A hazy mist seeps into the martial techniques, and I scream as I try to perform the moves. But it's wrong. It twists. It distorts. It begins to break. The martial techniques disintegrate and rampage uncontrollably. Quaying. Eventually, the martial techniques fail to follow my will and twist out of control, exploding at some point. I succeeded in melding everything into the techniques. But as soon as the canvas of myriad forms and connections is imbued, the martial techniques go berserk. And as I forcibly perform a sword dance and execute the techniques, I experience something for the first time in my life. Quaying. The all-heaven sword, it slips from my hand. I have dropped my sword. I fail to comprehend what is happening, and my hands tremble violently. I lie. I drop my sword. This is something that should never have happened. But it did. No, to be precise, it would be more accurate to say that the sword momentarily disappeared from my hand. The grip strength I have developed until now has reached an abnormal level, and in terms of grip strength, I am confident that I wouldn't lose to even those in the star-shattering stage. However, no matter how strong the grip, one cannot hold onto something that suddenly disappears. Shocked, I stopped training in martial arts for a while and focused solely on the affairs of the order. Just why did such a thing happen? 80 years have passed. Recently, I've often seen Buck Hyung-hwa and Kim Yeon hanging out together. It seems they have become sworn sisters, sleeping together and calling each other only by their surnames. Why are you so late, Buck? I told you not to call me that, Kim. How dare you speak to your heaven like that? Kayak, I told you not to pull my hair. Occasionally they would quarrel over trivial matters, but then, as if nothing had happened, they would walk around holding hands. Watching them, I suddenly realize, the reason why my swordsmanship doesn't listen to me. I have thought of the canvas of myriad forms and connections as my method, but thinking back, it isn't. As Song Jin said, a connection is something made together with another person. As it's made together with others, it isn't solely my method. Since I was trying to mix something that isn't mine with my sword, it only makes sense that it wouldn't listen to me. Of course, I still don't understand why it exploded at the end. But I understand one thing. I need to communicate. From that day, I begin static cultivation, not dynamic cultivation. It's training to further feel the canvas of myriad forms and connections itself. And 90 years have passed. I look at the norigi I received from Buck Hyung-hwa while comparing it with the colorless glass sword. She said that the norigi contains the strange stone spat out by Chingmun Ryong, serving as an enormous power source. Indeed, the norigi is emanating a tremendous amount of power. But it seems Buck Hyung-hwa is mistaken about one thing. Being only in the mid-nascent soul stage, she might not have realized, but when I tried to insert my consciousness into the norigi, I felt nothing. In other words, there is no strange stone sealed inside. Moreover, the norigi is connected to somewhere, and the power source used by the Buck Hyung fleet is not merely the power of a strange stone, but a power source drawn from somewhere. At first, I experimented to see if the norigi is connected to the canvas of myriad forms and connections, but it doesn't seem to be the case. The norigi and the canvas of myriad forms and connections have no reaction to each other. I'll have to ask Kim Yeon to try once to find where the norigi is connected to with her consciousness later on. It's impossible for me, but with Kim Yeon's vast consciousness, she might succeed in finding the place connected to the norigi. In the end, even the norigi can't reveal the secrets of the canvas of myriad forms and connections. I stare at the colorless glass sword, the origin of the canvas of myriad forms and connections. If scattered into all 3,000 swords, they would be on the level of ordinary Dharma treasures, but if combined, they would become a 4-axis stage Dharma treasure. The colorless glass sword, which was the foundation of my most precious memories, would become a truly proper integration stage grand perfection level Dharma treasure when combined with the all-heaven sword. The colorless glass sword, the foundation of my most cherished memories, would become a Dharma treasure of the grand perfection integration level when combined with the all-heaven sword. The glass of the colorless glass sword, tempered by my Dan fire for thousands of years, has transformed into something that is no longer just glass, but something more akin to another mineral. I gaze at the colorless glass sword for a long time, but there is nothing special. Who? Even now, I haven't conquered the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Even now, I haven't fully understood the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Heavens above, I wanted to cry out, but since the canvas of myriad forms and connections is not a result of the heavens, but a crystallization of the connections I have created, calling out to the heavens wouldn't change anything. I sigh, returning the Norigi to Buck Hyung Hwa, and once again return to static cultivation. Discussing connections with experienced or reliable individuals like Song Jin, Yon Wei, and Hong Fan. About 100 years have passed. Song Jin has died. // Discord https://dsc gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 379, with everyone 3. He had previously discussed his lifespan with me and had rejected both my procedure and the puppet's body, so it makes sense that he passed away now. He lived according to his natural lifespan, or perhaps even beyond it. Seo Ran blows Song Jin's ashes onto the Nether Crossing ship. The Nether Crossing ship that Buck Hyung Hwa restored becomes Song Jin's tomb and headstone. Song Jin's funeral is conducted grandly in its own way. Seo Ran sits atop the Nether Crossing ship that Song Jin left behind and gazes at the sky. I sit beside him and ask, "Are you sad?" Master said something to me before he passed away. What was it? As he strokes the Nether Crossing ship, he speaks. My mother, during her time living in the Head Realm, always feared death when she was young. She was so terrified of death that she often screamed out in fear, as if she were suffering from some kind of mental illness. But when she had me, she risked her life to give birth to me despite the potential danger to her own life. I listened to Seo Ran's words in silence. Master said, those who have something precious are not afraid of death. He cherished me, and he said he had no regrets since he saw his disciple grow up. He wipes his tears as he looks up at the sky. He showed no signs of fear or sorrow when he passed, so I too will not be sad. Tears are clearly streaming down his face. I can read his emotions. However, while I can read them, I cannot understand what they are. It's said that reaching 5 energies converging to the origin requires reading all emotions, but in truth, reading every emotion is impossible. One must simply acknowledge this fact to reach that realm. Thus, I cannot grasp Seo Ran's emotion. Kim Young-hoon said that a martial artist is one who imbues meaning into their weapon. If so, is a master who entrusts everything to their disciple also a martial artist? After comforting Seo Ran, I rise into the air to give him some time alone. As I look at Seo Ran sitting on the Nether Crossing ship, I realize something. Seo Ran has already come to resemble Song Jin more than Seo Atrial. He had entrusted even his own image to his disciple. If a martial artist is one who imbues meaning into their weapon, then every master in this world is a supreme martial artist. The bond and ties that form between people when they entrust something to one another. Can't the relationships between people also be considered a form of martial arts? I ponder this question as I leave Seo Ran and return to the religious hall. And I then realize that because of Song Jin's death, I am shedding tears. Nah, I'm not particularly sad. Song Jin was a good person, and while I owed him many favors, there were also many times I almost got scammed and nearly died because of him. I did learn some methods from him, but he never felt like a master to me like Ching-mun Ryong did. I'm not sad. Yet like Seo Ran, I am shedding tears. And through those tears, I finally understand why my canvas of myriad forms and connections is rampaging. Imbuing meaning into a weapon is martial arts, and the exchange of meanings between people is a connection. And sometimes, when there are disruptions in those connections, emotions can become uncontrollable. Because for the deceased, you can't return anything. When you have received much from the deceased, those many things overflow as emotion. The same is true for my canvas of myriad forms and connection. I have received too much from those of my past lives. However, there are many things I can no longer return. I succeeded in imbuing meaning into my weapon. However, it was an overflow of meaning. Having received too many favors, my sword is running wild and exploding. I do not hold the frenzied sword, but quietly mourn for Song Jin. Even if I hadn't received much from him, even if my connection with him wasn't deep, he was undoubtedly one of my connections. And so, several decades pass once more. Kagagugugu. A heavenly tribulation sweeps through the twilight domain. Kwajijijik. Seo Ran is breaking through to the next realm. After enduring some time under the heavenly tribulation, Seo Ran finally showcases his cultivation at the mid-heavenly being stage. Congratulations, Seo Ran. I smile as I look upon Seo Ran, who is now perfectly transformed into a human form, with none of the characteristics of the demon race. Following my praise, others also shower Seo Ran with congratulations. In the spiritual energy-rich ancient force realm, Seo Ran acquired a seed of madness after Song Jin's death. Eventually, Seo Ran used that seed to rise very quickly to the mid-heavenly being stage. However, Seo Ran doesn't seem particularly happy about his breakthrough. I'm not that great, the truly amazing one is, Shiho. No sooner after Seo Ran finishes speaking, does an enormous heavenly tribulation strike from afar. Under the shadow of that heavenly tribulation, we see Shiho howling. Shiho, having recently consumed a tremendous spiritual fruit from the ancient force realm's deep sea, saw his cultivation soar and is now reaching the 4-axis stage. How long does thunder and lightning rage in the sky? When we fly to his location after some time, we see Shiho barely getting up, coughing blood. Hong Fan, standing nearby, says while smiling. He almost died enduring the lightning tribulation, but sir, Shiho successfully reached the 4-axis stage. When Shiho sees us, he runs crying to Seo Ran. Yua Si Ran, I almost died. Seo Ran looks like he is about to lose his mind, but whether he has given up or accepted it, he no longer exudes the disgusted intent he used to. I laugh heartily and congratulate the two who have safely overcome their heavenly tribulations. Both of you have successfully passed your heavenly tribulations. It's a great blessing for our Wuji religious order. Thank you. Thank you, cult leader. And, cult leader, may you also safely overcome the lightning tribulation. All right. I turn my head to look behind me. At the center of the Wuji religious order. On the roof of the Wuji religious hall. There, my true body is preparing to face the heavenly tribulation. Now then, shall I take on the heavenly tribulation? After about 120 years, I have finally completed the health axis. Unlike before, I built it very quickly by receiving lifespans in 100 and 200-year increments from the lower realm beings instead of the previous 10 years. Now then, I shall complete my axis. Payet. I reabsorb my seated detachment, standing Oblivion avatar back into my main body. Wowung. I draw the dragon vein of Black Island through the twilight domain. An overwhelming strength surges around me. After surrounding myself with 12 flames created from the ancient force realm's energy, I close my eyes. I offer a ritual to the ancient force realm. O great realm of ancient force. I tear apart 10,000 years of my lifespan. Kagaguguk. And I convert that 10,000 years of lifespan entirely into the health axis. Payet. Then I return the lifespan accumulated over the past 120 years back through the ancient force realm. Wowung. With the health axis properly built, I feel the emptiness Chinese letter of the 6 extremes as the shadows beneath my feet ripple and dance. With this they are longevity, wealth, and health. I have built 3 axes, and my sense of the 6 extremes has become clearer than ever before. Previously, the 6 extremes had been mere shadows at my feet, but now they have risen around me, circling like eerie ghosts. What used to be the 6 extremes yin thunder body that spewed black lightning now no longer emits lightning. They merely hover around me ominously, as if hungry and starving. However, I pay them no mind and embrace the axes of longevity, wealth, and health into my bosom. Thus, I enter the late 4-axis stage. Kurung kurururung. Blue and gold lightning stir in the sky. Though there is no sky, that bothersome heavenly tribulation still occurs even in the ancient force realm. A terrifyingly powerful heavenly tribulation descends upon me. But when I move my hand, the black clouds releasing the heavenly tribulation tears apart with a massive hole, and the tribulation disperses. The countless ghostly creatures of the Wuji religious order witnesses this and cry out in jubilation. Kiyaya. Jia. A heavenly tribulation at the 4-axis stage is no longer that frightening. Honestly, heavenly tribulations have long become akin to celebratory fireworks marking my advancement in cultivation. However, from the integration stage, heavenly tribulations become somewhat more challenging to deal with, and starting from the star-shattering stage, the severity of heavenly tribulations escalates to a level where it practically commands you to perish. Thus, the fear of heavenly tribulation should never be fully discarded. Weighing, I close my eyes and float the three axes around me. The six extremes axes has only taken shape and lacks any attraction force or spiritual force, making it essentially non-existent. It seems the six extremes axes can only be completed when the five blessings axes are completed. Just as how the shadow darkens the brighter the light. The three axes draw face. TL/N, face as in mathematical terms. In any case, it is now possible to unfold the four-axis canopy. I extend my hand over the face. Well then, given that the four-axis method I practice is the Great Desert to Dead Sea, my four-axis canopy is somewhat predetermined. Chuea, the image of an endless ashen gray desert appears over the face. This desert, devoid of both sky and land, only filled with an ashen exterior, looks like the outskirts of the netherworld. This is the appearance inside my four-axis canopy. But I can put in at least one or two things that I want. Well then, I float the canvas of myriad forms and connections over the desolate desert. Countless connections from the canvas of myriad forms and connections rise to the sky, coloring the world. The connections emit light. The light they emit, resembling aurora borealis, illuminates the desert. Of course, to others, it will merely appear as a dull desert covered with hazy clouds, becoming even gloomier, but that doesn't matter to me. In any case, the interior of this four-axis canopy is now my world. Well then, I unfold the four-axis canopy. The land of the endless desert covers the surroundings. Typically, a four-axis stage could not cover even a tenth of the twilight domain with their four-axis canopy, but perhaps it's thanks to vast cold's heavenly circle and the six extremes axes. Or maybe due to the presence of the three great ultimates. Akin to a cultivator at the integration stage, I managed to cover the entire twilight domain with my four-axis canopy. Everyone listen, today this seat has an important announcement to make. All the ghostly creatures of the religious order, listen attentively at my words. Why of all days did those who could endure heavenly tribulation and advance in cultivation do so today? This seat has someone I wish to save, and there are secrets I wish to uncover. Moreover, the cultivation method this seat has practiced is also related to those secrets. Furthermore, this seat discovered some information over a century ago and learned that a certain hidden cave will open soon. Only the power of a certain artifact within that hidden cave can help the one this seat wishes to save. Additionally, the secrets this seat seeks to uncover, and this seat's method can also be assisted by the power of that artifact. Therefore, this seat plans to head towards that hidden cave. However, within that hidden cave, one's cultivation falls to the level of a mere beast that has not undergone spiritual enlightenment or a miscellaneous ghost. Thus, this seat seeks your assistance in that cave. Assist this seat and save those who follow into the cave. This matter is not so much related to our order but is a personal affair of this seat, so it is not a command. Those who wish to come may come, and those who do not wish to come may stay. This seat, no, I not as the cult leader but as a fellow follower of the Wuji religious order ask you, will you help me? In 3 days. According to Yuk-Rin, Pinglai Island will open. The salt mountain within Pinglai Island. And the countless treasures, the ritual worship scriptures for Axis Foundation practice, among them the ritual worship scripture of love of virtue, and more. There is so much to gain. According to the information provided by Yuk-Rin, it is a very dangerous place. Even if our cultivation is restricted, it wouldn't matter for me or Kim Young-hoon, but there seems to be limitations that neither mine nor Kim Young-hoon's martial power can resolve. Therefore, I proclaim to the entire Wuji religious order to resolve this with the numbers of the order. And shortly after my proclamation, the ghostly creatures and the demon race, who have joined the Wuji religious order in the ancient force realm cheer in unison. We believe, O cult leader, of course we shall follow. We believe that we will be shown another miracle. You have never forced us, but even if it were a demand, not a request, we would comply. They all cheer in unison, declaring they will follow me. I smile as I look upon them. Thank you. As long as they are here, this life must be different from any previous ones. I will definitely save Chung Mun Ryong, uncover the secrets of the great mountain-splitting emperor technique, and prepare to leap to the next realm. Definitely. After my declaration, countless newly joined demon race followers from other branches of the Wuji religious order pour in, declaring their intent to join this Pinglai Island expedition. And 3 days later, is it here? Yes. We, led by Yuk Rin, arrive at a small sea domain. This sea domain, without a proper palace lord and ruled by a four-axis island lord, is called Cherry Blossom Dragon Sea Domain. It will be revealed at night. Today is a special day. Kagagagugu. Before long, night falls, and the sky is filled with yin energy. The ring of light that marks daytime in each sea domain fades, and darkness envelops the vicinity. Usually, that ring of light would emit moonlight, but it does not shine today for some reason. Yuk Rin speaks. Today is the day when Sacred Master He Lin stops supplying light to all the sea domains once every few centuries. It's a day when only darkness remains. Since the Sacred Master binds the dimensional canopy of the ancient force realm and forbids Chinese letter, light itself, no sea domain will be illuminated. Kagagugu. Of course, no one here has any problem being without light, so each extends their consciousness domains to perceive their surroundings. And then we see the deep sea ahead suddenly starting to split. The island that only appears on the day when light does not shine, that is Pinglai Island. I lead the twilight domain toward the splitting deep sea. Just like the storage scroll of lofty dragon true person, it seems hidden caves only reveal their entrances on days when light does not shine. While pondering idle thoughts, I move the entire twilight domain over the fully split gap of the deep sea. Can you see below? Kagagugu. Below the deep sea, something massive, like a giant barrier, is caught within the scope of my consciousness. That barrier is Pinglai Island. As the Sacred Master's rules do not apply inside, there is a separate light source. Do not be surprised if it suddenly becomes bright. Thanks for the detailed information. Following Yuk Rin's explanation, I send the twilight domain down towards the barrier. Since the entire Wuji religious order is heading to Pinglai Island, I brought the entire twilight domain with me. In other words, the benefits for the entire Wuji religious order are hanging on this trip to Pinglai Island. My shoulders are heavy. Perhaps it's because of my thoughts of carrying the entire Wuji religious order. For some reason, my shoulders feel stiff. Kagagagugu. It's just when the twilight domain is almost about to approach the barrier. Chwak. From one side of the split deep sea, a familiar ship suddenly appears. That's the Salt Bones ship of the fighting demon pirate gang. Yuk Rin's face scrunches at the sight. Damn it, what are you doing? Stop those bastards. The structure of Pinglai Island is such that the ones who enter first gain the advantage. With my expression becoming serious at his words, I launch sword energy. But at that moment, from behind the Salt Bones ship, a huge darkness seems to rise, and several deep-sea monsters emerge. The fighting demon pirate gang has brought along a horde of deep-sea monsters. And while we are dealing with the deep-sea monsters, the fighting demon pirate gang enters the barrier of Pinglai Island slightly ahead of the twilight domain. Chwak. Our twilight domain also enters the barrier shortly after, but Yuk Rin remarks sarcastically. Well, what can we do? It seems those thieves will gain more benefits. Be quiet. Kagagugu. When the twilight domain finally fully enters the barrier, I open my eyes wide at the sight before me. It's a colossal salt mountain. At the top of the salt mountain is a pure white palace made entirely of salt crystals, and the salt mountain suddenly emits a bright white light. Then all of us, including myself, lose consciousness. Blink. I open my eyes. Where is this? // Discord https://dsc.gg/wetread. Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 380, with everyone 4. 1 HL//next/static/media/E11418 AC 562 B8 AC 1S P WAF2 font cross origin type font/WAF22 chel/bix/next/static/CSS/ 5640 EC 94 B41 E1 DC8 CSS style 3 HL/bix/next/static/CSS/46 DDEF 1B70D0 E73F2 CSS style 4 Chel /book /next /static /css /e034 a57 a71 b6 bf6 e css. Style 5 i9459. 8 i23213. B i38317. I75184. 9 series. A Regressor's Tale of Cultivation. DA Chapter 380 DF 0 null $L5 null build ID XWVX098JZI8YD0A8 asset prefix. Initial canonical URL /series /A Regressor's Tale of Cultivation /chapter 380 initial tree. Children use /header. Children. This page could not be found. $div null style font family system UI /Sego UI /Roboto Helvetica Arial sans serif /Apple color emoji /Sego UI emoji height 100 VH text align center display flex direction column align items center justify content center children $div null children $style null dangerously set inner HTML /HTML body color #000 background #FFF margin 0 next error h1 border right 1 px solid RGBA 0003 at media prefers color scheme dark body color #FFF background #000 next error h1 border right 1 px solid RGBA 255 3 $h1 null class name next error h1 style display inline block margin 020 px 00 padding 023 px 00 font size 24 font weight 500 vertical align top line height 49 px children $404 div null style display inline block children $h2 null style font size 14 font weight 400 line height 49 px margin 0 children this pay could not be found not found styles $link 0 rel stylesheet href /book /next /static /css /5640 ec 94 b41 e1 dc8 css precedence next cross origin $undefined $link 1 rel stylesheet href /book /next /static /css /46 data f1 b70 d0 e73 f2 css precedent next cross origin $undefined $link 2 rel stylesheet href /book /next /static /css /e034 a57 a71 b6 bf6 e css precedence next cross origin $undefined null could be intercepted false initial head null $ld global error component I3892 2421 static /chunk /2421 add for BFF3 FDC8 E7 FD4 JS 7386 static /chunk /7386 AAA 5428 A4 add 926 JS 9113 static /chunk /9113 4046 2568 static /chunk /27324865 -61 A64 A58 E427160 JS 792 static /chunk /84 FBFE7 F9 Ka45B 80B 8648 IA JS 4283 stat 2 405 JS 9300 static /chunk /9300 dia 7A3 CF6 E95 E150 JS 5235 static /chunk /5235-80 D8 FF 1314 B6 EC9 JS 7415 static /chunk /7415-372 to F39A95 E91269 F6 JS 6725 static /chunk /6725-7724 DITA 0 add 616 A82 GS 5307 static /chunk /5307-6 A 25900 FOF 76330 JS 8856 static /chunk /8856-983522 F07D5 BD35A JS 9109 to C5 E626 FA81 JS default 12 84360 2568 static slash chunk slash 27,324,865 61 A64 A58 E427160 JS 792 static slash chunk slash 84 FBFE 7 F9 Ka 45 B80 B8648 IA JS 4280 2 405 JS 9300 static slash chunk slash 9300 dia 7A3 CF 6 E95 E150 JS 5235 static slash chunk slash 5235-80 D8 FF 1314 B6 EC9 JS 7415 cent attic slash chunk slash 7415-307 to F39A95 E91269 F6 JS 6725 static slash chunk slash 6725-7724 DITA 0 add 616A82 GS 5307 static slash chunk slash 5307-6A 25900 FOF 76313 JS 8856 static slash chunk slash 8856-983,522 F07D5BD35AJS 9109 to C5E626 FA81 JS auth context provider 13 33,721 2,421 static slash chunk slash 2,421 add 4 BFF3 FDC 8 E7 FD4 JS 7,386 static slash chunk slash 7,386 AAA 5,428 A4 add 926 JS 9,113 static slash chunk slash 9,100 9,542 2,568 static slash chunk slash 27,324,865 -61 A64 A58 E427,160 GS 792 static slash chunk slash 84 FBFE 7 F9 Ka 45 B 80 B 8648 IA JS 4280 2 405 JS 9300 static slash chunk slash 9300 dia 7A3 CF 6 E95 E150 JS 5235 static slash chunk slash 5235-80 D8 FF 1314 B6 EC9 JS 7415 static slash chunk slash 7415-372 to F39A95 E91269 F6 JS 6725 static slash chunk slash 6725-7724 DITA 0 add 616A82 GS 5307 static slash chunk slash 5307-6A 25900 FOF 76313 JS 8856 static slash chunk slash 8856-983,522 F07D5BD35A JS 9109 to C5E626 FA81 JS header provider 15 97,581 2,568 static slash chunk slash 27,324,865 -61 A64 A58 E427,160 yes 792 static slash chunk slash 84 FBFE 7 F9 Ka 45 B80 B8648 IA JS 4200 2 405 JS 9300 static slash chunk slash 9300 dia 7A3 CF 6 E95 E150 JS 5235 static slash chunk slash 5235-80 D8 FF 1314 B6 EC9 JS 7415 static slash chunk slash 7415-372 to F39A95 E91269 F6 JS 6725 static slash chunk slash 6725-7724 DITA 0 add 616A82 GS 5307 static slash chunk slash 5307 dash 6A 25900 FOF 76313 JS 8856 static slash chunk slash 8856 dash 983522 F07D5BD35A JS 9109 to C5 E626 FA81 JS default 16 I 30744 2568 static slash chunk slash 27324865 dash 61 A64A58 E427160 GS 792 static slash chunk slash 84 FBFE7F9 CA45B 80B 8648 EA JS 4200 2 405 JS 9300 static slash chunk slash 9300 dia 7A3CF 6E95 E150 JS 5235 static slash chunk slash 5235 80D8 FF 1314 B6 EC9 JS 7415 static slash chunk slash 7415 372 to F39A 95E 91269 F6 JS 6725 static slash chunk slash 6725 7724 DITA 0 add 616 A82 GS 5307 static slash chunk slash 5307 6A 25900 FOF 76313 JS 8856 static slash chunk slash 8856 983522 F07D5BD35A JS 9109 to C5 E626 FA81 JS default 17 I 46825 2568 static slash chunk slash 27324865 61 A64A58 E427160 GS 792 static slash chunk slash 84 FBFE7F9 CA45B 80B 8648 EA JS 4200 2 405 JS 9300 static slash chunk slash 9300 dia 7A3CF 6E95 E150 JS 5235 static slash chunk slash 5235 80D8 FF 1314 B6 EC9 JS 7415 static slash chunk slash 7415 372 to F39A 95E 91269 F6 JS 6725 static slash chunk slash 6725 7724 DITA 0 add 616 A82 GS 5307 static slash chunk slash 5307 6A 25900 FOF 76313 JS 8856 static slash chunk slash 8856 983522 F07D5BD35A JS 9109 to C5 E626 FA81 JS default 1C I 49686 2421 static slash chunk slash 2421 add 4 BFF3 FDC 8 E7 FD4 JS 7386 static slash chunk slash 7386 AA 5428 A4 add 926 JS 9113 static slash chunk slash 9100 UI backslash Roboto Helvetica Arial Sans Serif backslash Apple Color Emoji backslash Seago UI Emoji backslash Height 100 VH Text Align Center Display Flex Direction Column Align Items Center Justify Content Center 19 Display Inline Block Margin 020px00 Padding 023px0 0 Font Size 24 Font Weight 500 Vertical Align Top Line Height 49px1a Display Inline block 1B, font size 14, font weight 400, line height 49px, margin 0C $, HTML null class name, \\, class name \3A0388, lang, n, suppress hydration warning true children $, head null children $, $L10 null gobax. This page could not be found. Div null style, $18 children, div null children, style null dangerously set inner HTML, //HTML, body color, #000 background, #FFF margin 0, next error H1 border right, 1px solid RGBA 000, 3 at media prefers color scheme. Dark body color, #FFF background, #000 next error H1 border right, 1px solid RGBA 255 255 255 3 $H1 null class name, next error H1 style, $19 children, $404 div null style, $1A children, H2 null style, $1B children. This page could not be found. Not found styles. Styles null $div null class name BG background children $div null class name flex item center flex call justify center px5 pi 4 gap 4 children img null src / icon png. The sunlight is clear. And then a flood of confusing information rushes into my mind. Age 30 hobbies are drinking, womanizing, gambling, and singing and dancing. Occupation is a charcoal seller, single. My head aches as if it's splitting apart. It seems like I had a dream. I am Seo Yoon-hyan, a charcoal seller. But it feels like I had a strange dream while I was asleep. I lived for thousands of years. Flenching. I grab my head and shout out loud. I am me. These are memories that I can never forget. How could I forget who I am? I am not Seo Yoon-hyan, the charcoal seller. I am Seo Yoon-hyan from the soap company. I am Seo Yoon-hyan. I grab my head and get up from my seat. I haven't forgotten. Just moments ago, I was looking at the slopes of the Salt Mountain outside of Pinglai Island, and I had fainted after being hit by the light emitted from Salt Mountain. Yuk Rin said if you enter Pinglai Island, you will be trapped in an illusion formation and become a character within the formation. And this formation changes every time to fit us. At least this is certain. When Yuk Rin said this, he wasn't lying, and it's a fact we had learned through continuous interrogation for over 100 years. As I clutch my throbbing head and stand up, trying to make sense of the situation. Whispering, whispering, whispering. I hear murmuring sounds from around me. When I come to my senses and look around, I find myself on a small platform in front of a thatched roof house, Choga House. And beyond the low fence of the house, humans who seem to be neighbors are watching me and whispering. That Seo fellow, he drank heavily last night, so he must be out of his mind. Hey, let's just go on our way. If we get caught by that thug, we're in trouble. Having a thug like that in the village makes everyone uneasy. What's he doing today anyway? Who knows? With that Seo fellow's personality, he might be planning to dump them in the mountains. Oh my, how terrible. What an unfilial rascal. I assess the situation, considering the memories implanted in my head and the reactions of the people around me. So, the original setting for Seo Yoon-hyan, the charcoal seller in this formation, is that his parents died of a plague when he was 13, and he has lived in this village for 30 years without marrying, behaving like a complete thug. It sure seems like an incredibly detailed formation. When I glance at the neighbors, they all flee, emitting intent of having stepped on something foul. Wait, I think I couldn't see the intent of some of them. Is it just my imagination? After looking around at them once, I extend my hand. I try to pull the hill behind Seo Yoon-hyan's house with attraction force. But the attraction force does not work. I try to draw upon other methods like the 1,000 lustrous forest sea and the Great Desert to Dead Sea, and even the Silica Earth Great Wall practice, but I feel nothing. I pull out a strand of straw used for making the fence and swing it over the platform. Boing! I have trained in the sword for thousands of years. Even without imbuing any energy, just swinging the straw leaves a mark on the platform. After looking at the mark for a moment, I swing the straw at my arm. Surung! My arm is cut, and drops of blood start to seep out. The muscle strength and toughness of my physical body built with the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method have all returned to an ordinary level. I try to focus my consciousness on my dantian, only to realize that even my consciousness has reverted to my mortal days. This is quite. Of course, even without consciousness, I have no problem observing my body, so I calmly examine my dantian. The golden core is gone. The Dharma treasure inside is also gone. I have completely returned to the state of Seo Yoon-hyan when first entering Ascension Path. Maybe not that far. Thinking back, it's not to that extent. Seo Yun Hyan, the charcoal seller in this formation, always has blackened hands and rough skin from working with charcoal. Who? I close my eyes and take a deep breath. And I can feel something strange. There is no Qi Chinese letter. Surprisingly, I can't sense any energy in the atmosphere. Recalling the incident at the hot spring on the surface of Lightning Sacred Sea involving Jang Ik, I try to use attraction force to summon the All-Heaven Sword. However, nothing happens. Damn it. It seems like laws or something in this world are twisted on a fundamental level. Yuck Rin, that dog bastard. How is this just a simple illusion? It's more like an entirely different world. Although I'm not too fearful since I still retain the ability to see intent and my accumulated martial arts, I'm annoyed to find out that some of Yuck Rin's information is wrong. That damned bastard said I could use Qi. But while searching through the memories of the charcoal seller Seo Yun Hyan, I discover that there are indeed beings similar to demon spirits, Yaegyu, in this world. I rub my forehead. Damn it, can the demon race use demonic power to some extent in this world? In other words, Yuck Rin wasn't lying from his own perspective when he said one can use energy. Gritting my teeth, I start looking around for now to find my comrades or followers of the Wuji religious order. Although I have some rough memories as Seo Yun Hyan, the charcoal seller, they are not complete. I soon find Yon Wei nearby. She is across the street, inside a tiled roof house wearing clean clothes, playing with her 3-year-old son. That boy feels like Yon Jin. Elder Yon Wei. I speak to her first, and she looks at me with flared eyes, rushes into the kitchen, grabs a rice paddle and slaps me across the face. Are you here to ask for rice again? You shameless thing, get out of here. The only thing I'll give you is the rice stuck to your cheek, so scram. HM, dear wife, why the commotion? No, husband, it's the village thug again. Creak. The door inside the tiled roof house opens, and a gentleman who resembles Hun One pokes his head out. He meets my gaze and, looking above me, clicks his tongue and says, "He's a poor young man. Dear wife should be more understanding. I've told you repeatedly, haven't I? Seo Fellow's parents once helped our parents. Just give him a scoop of rice and send him on his way." Uwa, all right, husband. Yon Wei's body trembles and reluctantly heads to the kitchen, scooping out a bowl of rice to hand to me. Ooh, why do I have to give our precious rice, meant for my husband and son, to a beggar like you? She hands me the rice with trembling hands, and I accept it in a moment of confusion. Now that you've got the rice, get lost, and if you ever come back again talking about your parents' so-called kindness, I'll make sure you get a severe beating. As soon as I take the rice, she kicks me out the front door and slams it shut. I examine the rice I have received. It's mixed with pebbles and sand. Judging by her character, it's definitely Yon Wei. I recall the face of her husband, Hun One. He didn't have any intent visible. I remember what Yuck Rin said. This formation creates illusions based on the target's memories. It seems Yon Wei's husband is a character purely created from her memories, a figure of this world. Then the neighbors who showed intent. I remember their appearances, realizing they are people I have seen in the Wuji religious order. I see the followers are set to appear as they did in life rather than as ghosts. I frown. That's that, but why hasn't Yon Wei snapped out of it yet? I have already come to my senses, but she still seems to think that she is a character in this world. Even though Yon Wei is dead, she still possesses the consciousness of a 4-axis stage cultivator. Yet she has lost her essence and fully embraced the setting of this world. I need to find the others. I decide to take a walk around the village. And as I walk around, I come to realize my reputation in the village is dreadful. Children started crying as soon as they saw my face. Village maidens suddenly stopped chatting happily and walked as far away from me as possible, and the elderly men trembled in fear and fled with their canes when I approached. The sturdy young men spat on the ground whenever I drew near. Damn it, why did my character have to be a scoundrel? While I am pondering this, I suddenly freeze. Up ahead, I spot Kim Yon and Buck Hyung-hwa. They are walking down the road, laughing together. Their demeanor is so similar to their behavior in the Wuji religious order that I approach them on the off chance that they regain their senses. Excuse me. But as soon as I speak, recoil in fright. Kayak, you scoundrel, what are you trying to do to us? Stay away from Yon Nai, you pervert, What are you plotting now? Kim Yeon retreats with a terrified expression, and Buck Hyung-hwa also steps back but stands protectively in front of her. No, wait, I have something to say. I approach them taken aback by the realization that even Kim Yeon, with her superior consciousness, has not yet broken free from this illusion. If even someone with a vast consciousness like Kim Yeon hasn't snapped out of it, just how can one regain their awareness in this formation? Do they need some kind of stimulus? As I approach, Buck Hyung-hwa's face grows increasingly fierce. She pulls out a small silver knife from her bosom and grips it in her hand. Hey, calm down. I just need to check something for a moment. What are you trying to check? Our underwear, you villain? If you come any closer, I'll swing. No, Buck Hyung-hwa, just put that down for a moment. Go, get your hands off. Boom, boing. Buck Hyung-hwa lets out a sharp cry as she swings the silver knife at me, and I reach out in alarm. Hey, stop swinging that as it's dangerous. I quickly grab Buck Hyung-hwa's hand and restrain her. Kim Yeon, with tears welling up in her eyes, clings to the hem of my pants and begins to plead. Please don't touch our Hyung-hwa, take me instead. No, it's not like that. Just then, boom, I sense something flying towards me from behind, and I quickly turn to catch a flying stone. Oh, you're here too. With a welcoming expression, I wave at the angry man who had thrown the stone. It's Jeon Myo-hoon. Hey Jeon Myo-hoon, do you remember me? However, Jeon Myo-hoon approaches me with an angry face and slaps me across the cheek. It's been a while since I've been hit by this guy. Since the guy is always angry, I speak to see if Jeon Myo-hoon regained his memories. Hey, why are you hitting me all of a sudden? But Jeon Myo-hoon angrily points his finger at me. Shut up, you scoundrel, stop bothering the village maidens. Don't you know the village has been in turmoil because of you? Do you think I'll let it slide just because we were friends before? If you keep causing trouble, I'll ask Newnham to have you expelled from the village. He raises his hand as if to slap me again, but then a woman behind Jeon Myo-hoon pulls him back. No, husband, even so, how can you hit a son in front of his parents? What are you talking about? My body trembles as I look at her. She resembles Jin Sohei. She awkwardly smiles at me while pulling Jeon Myo-hoon back. Haha, hello, we'll be going now. The character resembling Jin Sohei grabs Jeon Myo-hoon's wrist and hurriedly leads him away. Jeon Myo-hoon enters the tiled-roof house where Yeon-wei is. It seems the Newnham Jeon Myo-hoon mentioned is Yeon-wei. Thanks to Jeon Myo-hoon holding me back, Buck Hyung-hwa and Kim Yeon quickly fled and disappeared from my sight. I sigh. Damn. Upon waking up, I found myself as the thug charcoal seller of Pinglai Island. 20T3456. The sunlight is clear. And then, a flood of confusing information rushes into my mind. Age 30, hobbies are drinking, womanizing, gambling, and singing and dancing. Occupation is a charcoal seller, single. My head aches as if it's splitting apart. It seems like I had a dream. I am Seo Yoon-hyun, a charcoal seller. But it feels like I had a strange dream while I was asleep. I lived for thousands of years. Flinching. I grab my head and shout out loud. I am me. These are memories that I can never forget. How could I forget who I am? I'm not Seo Yoon-hyun, the charcoal seller. I am Seo Yoon-hyun from the soap company. I am Seo Yoon-hyun. I grab my head and get up from my seat. I haven't forgotten. Just moments ago, I was looking at the slopes of the Salt Mountain outside of Pinglai Island, and I had fainted after being hit by the light emitted from Salt Mountain. Yuk-rin said if you enter Pinglai Island, you will be trapped in an illusion formation and become a character within the formation. And this formation changes every time to fit us. At least this is certain. When Yuk-rin said this, he wasn't lying, and it's a fact we had learned through continuous interrogation for over 100 years. As I clutch my throbbing head and stand up, trying to make sense of the situation. Whispering, whispering, whispering. I hear murmuring sounds from around me. When I come to my senses and look around, I find myself on a small platform in front of a thatched roof house, Choga House. And beyond the low fence of the house, humans who seem to be neighbors are watching me and whispering. That Seo fellow, he drank heavily last night, so he must be out of his mind. Hey, let's just go on our way. If we get caught by that thug, we're in trouble. Having a thug like that in the village makes everyone uneasy. What's he doing today anyway? Who knows? With that Seo fellow's personality, he might be planning to dump them in the mountains. Oh my, how terrible. What an unfilial rascal. I assess the situation, considering the memories implanted in my head and the reactions of the people around me. So, the original setting for Seo Yun-hyun, the charcoal seller in this formation, is that his parents died of a plague when he was 13, and he has lived in this village for 30 years without marrying, behaving like a complete thug. It sure seems like an incredibly detailed formation. When I glance at the neighbors, they all flee, emitting intent of having stepped on something foul. Wait, I think I couldn't see the intent of some of them. Is it just my imagination? After looking around at them once, I extend my hand. I try to pull the hill behind Seo Yun-hyun's house with attraction force. But the attraction force does not work. I try to draw upon other methods like the 1,000 lustrous forest sea and the Great Desert to Dead Sea, and even the Silica Earth Great Wall practice, but I feel nothing. I pull out a strand of straw used for making the fence and swing it over the platform. Boing! I have trained in the sword for thousands of years. Even without imbuing any energy, just swinging the straw leaves a mark on the platform. After looking at the mark for a moment, I swing the straw at my arm. Surung! My arm is cut, and drops of blood start to seep out. The muscle strength and toughness of my physical body built with the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method have all returned to an ordinary level. I try to focus my consciousness on my dantian, only to realize that even my consciousness has reverted to my mortal days. This is quite. Of course, even without consciousness, I have no problem observing my body, so I calmly examine my dantian. The golden core is gone. The Dharma treasure inside is also gone. I have completely returned to the state of Seo Yun-hyun when first entering Ascension Path. Maybe not that far. Thinking back, it's not to that extent. Seo Yun-hyun, the charcoal seller in this formation, always has blackened hands and rough skin from working with charcoal. Who? I close my eyes and take a deep breath. And I can feel something strange. There is no Qi Chinese letter. Surprisingly, I can't sense any energy in the atmosphere. Recalling the incident at the hot spring on the surface of Lightning Sacred Sea involving Jang Ik, I try to use attraction force to summon the All-Heaven Sword. However, nothing happens. Damn it. It seems like laws or something in this world are twisted on a fundamental level. Yuk Rin, that dog bastard. How is this just a simple illusion? It's more like an entirely different world. Although I'm not too fearful since I still retain the ability to see intent and my accumulated martial arts, I'm annoyed to find out that some of Yuk Rin's information is wrong. That damned bastard said I could use Qi. But while searching through the memories of the charcoal seller Seo Yun-hyun, I discover that there are indeed beings similar to demon spirits, Yagyu, in this world. I rub my forehead. Damn it, can the demon race use demonic power to some extent in this world? In other words, Yuk Rin wasn't lying from his own perspective when he said one can use energy. Gritting my teeth, I start looking around for now to find my comrades or followers of the Wuji religious order. Although I have some rough memories as Seo Yun-hyun, the charcoal seller, they are not complete. I soon find Yon Wei nearby. She is across the street, inside a tiled roof house wearing clean clothes, playing with her 3-year-old son. That boy feels like Yeonjin. Elder Yon Wei. I speak to her first, and she looks at me with flared eyes, rushes into the kitchen, grabs a rice paddle and slaps me across the face. Are you here to ask for rice again? You shameless thing, get out of here. The only thing I'll give you is the rice stuck to your cheek, so scram. HM, dear wife, why the commotion? No, husband, it's the village thug again. Creak. The door inside the tiled roof house opens, and a gentleman who resembles Hun Won pokes his head out. He meets my gaze and, looking above me, clicks his tongue and says, "He's a poor young man. Dear wife should be more understanding. I've told you repeatedly, haven't I? Seo fellow's parents once helped our parents. Just give him a scoop of rice and send him on his way." Uwa, all right, husband. Yon Wei's body trembles and reluctantly heads to the kitchen, scooping out a bowl of rice to hand to me. Ooh, why do I have to give our precious rice, meant for my husband and son, to a beggar like you? She hands me the rice with trembling hands, and I accept it in a moment of confusion. Now that you've got the rice, get lost. And if you ever come back again talking about your parents' so-called kindness, I'll make sure you get a severe beating. As soon as I take the rice, she kicks me out the front door and slams it shut. I examine the rice I have received. It's mixed with pebbles and sand. Judging by her character, it's definitely Yonwei. I recall the face of her husband, Hun-Won. He didn't have any intent visible. I remember what Yuk Rin said. This formation creates illusions based on the target's memories. It seems Yonwei's husband is a character purely created from her memories, a figure of this world. Then the neighbors who showed intent. I remember their appearances, realizing they are people I have seen in the Wuji religious order. I see the followers are set to appear as they did in life rather than as ghosts. I frown. That's that, but why hasn't Yonwei snapped out of it yet? I have already come to my senses, but she still seems to think that she is a character in this world. Even though Yonwei is dead, she still possesses the consciousness of a 4-axis stage cultivator. Yet she has lost her essence and fully embraced the setting of this world. I need to find the others. I decide to take a walk around the village. And as I walk around, I come to realize my reputation in the village is dreadful. Children started crying as soon as they saw my face. Village maidens suddenly stopped chatting happily and walked as far away from me as possible, and the elderly men trembled in fear and fled with their canes when I approached. The sturdy young men spat on the ground whenever I drew near. Damn it, why did my character have to be a scoundrel? While I am pondering this, I suddenly freeze. Up ahead, I spot Kim Yon and Buck Hyung-hwa. They are walking down the road, laughing together. Their demeanor is so similar to their behavior in the Wuji religious order that I approach them on the off chance that they regain their senses. Excuse me. But as soon as I speak, recoil in fright. Kayak, you scoundrel, what are you trying to do to us? Stay away from Yon Un-nai, you pervert, what are you plotting now? Kim Yon retreats with a terrified expression, and Buck Hyung-hwa also steps back but stands protectively in front of her. No, wait, I have something to say. I approach them taken aback by the realization that even Kim Yon, with her superior consciousness, has not yet broken free from this illusion. If even someone with a vast consciousness like Kim Yon hasn't snapped out of it, just how can one regain their awareness in this formation? Do they need some kind of stimulus? As I approach, Buck Hyung-hwa's face grows increasingly fierce. She pulls out a small silver knife from her bosom and grips it in her hand. Hey, calm down. I just need to check something for a moment. What, are you trying to check our underwear, you villain? If you come any closer, I'll swing. No, Buck Hyung-hwa, just put that down for a moment. Go, get your hands off. Boom boing. Buck Hyung-hwa lets out a sharp cry as she swings the silver knife at me, and I reach out in alarm. Hey, stop swinging that as it's dangerous. I quickly grab Buck Hyung-hwa's hand and restrain her. Kim Yon, with tears welling up in her eyes, clings to the hem of my pants and begins to plead. Please don't touch our Hyung-hwa, take me instead. No, it's not like that. Just then, boom, I sense something flying towards me from behind, and I quickly turn to catch a flying stone. Oh, you're here too. With a welcoming expression, I wave at the angry man who had thrown the stone. It's Jeon Myo-hoon. Hey Jeon Myo-hoon, do you remember me? However, Jeon Myo-hoon approaches me with an angry face and slaps me across the cheek. It's been a while since I've been hit by this guy. Since the guy is always angry, I speak to see if Jeon Myo-hoon regained his memories. Hey, why are you hitting me all of a sudden? But Jeon Myo-hoon angrily points his finger at me. Shut up, you scoundrel, stop bothering the village maidens. Don't you know the village has been in turmoil because of you? Do you think I'll let it slide just because we were friends before? If you keep causing trouble, I'll ask Noonam to have you expelled from the village. He raises his hand as if to slap me again, but then a woman behind Jeon Myo-hoon pulls him back. No, husband, even so, how can you hit a son in front of his parents? What are you talking about? My body trembles as I look at her. She resembles Jin Sohei. She awkwardly smiles at me while pulling Jeon Myo-hoon back. Haha, hello, we'll be going now. The character resembling Jin Sohei grabs Jeon Myo-hoon's wrist and hurriedly leads him away. Jeon Myo-hoon enters the tiled-roof house where Yonwei is. It seems the Noonam Jeon Myo-hoon mentioned is Yonwei. Thanks to Jeon Myo-hoon holding me back, Buck Hyung Hwa and Kim Yeon quickly fled and disappeared from my sight. I sigh. Damn. Upon waking up, I found myself as the thug charcoal seller of Pinglai Island. 24 T3456. The sunlight is clear. And then, a flood of confusing information rushes into my mind. Age 30, hobbies are drinking, womanizing, gambling, and singing and dancing. Occupation is a charcoal seller, single. My head aches as if it's splitting apart. It seems like I had a dream. I am Seo Yoon Hyan, a charcoal seller. But it feels like I had a strange dream while I was asleep. I lived for thousands of years. Flinching. I grab my head and shout out loud. I am me. These are memories that I can never forget. How could I forget who I am? I'm not Seo Yoon Hyan, the charcoal seller. I am Seo Yoon Hyan from the soap company. I am Seo Yoon Hyan. I grab my head and get up from my seat. I haven't forgotten. Just moments ago, I was looking at the slopes of the Salt Mountain outside of Pinglai Island, and I had fainted after being hit by the light emitted from Salt Mountain. Yuk Rin said if you enter Pinglai Island, you will be trapped in an illusion formation and become a character within the formation. And this formation changes every time to fit us. At least this is certain. When Yuk Rin said this, he wasn't lying, and it's a fact we had learned through continuous interrogation for over 100 years. As I clutch my throbbing head and stand up, trying to make sense of the situation. Whispering, whispering, whispering. I hear murmuring sounds from around me. When I come to my senses and look around, I find myself on a small platform in front of a thatched roof house, Choga House. And beyond the low fence of the house, humans who seem to be neighbors are watching me and whispering. That Seo fellow, he drank heavily last night, so he must be out of his mind. Hey, let's just go on our way. If we get caught by that thug, we're in trouble. Having a thug like that in the village makes everyone uneasy. What's he doing today anyway? Who knows? With that Seo fellow's personality, he might be planning to dump them in the mountains. Oh my, how terrible. What an unfilial rascal. I assess the situation, considering the memories implanted in my head and the reactions of the people around me. So, the original setting for Seo Yoon Hyan, the charcoal seller in this formation, is that his parents died of a plague when he was 13, and he has lived in this village for 30 years without marrying, behaving like a complete thug. It sure seems like an incredibly detailed formation. When I glance at the neighbors, they all flee, emitting intent of having stepped on something foul. Wait, I think I couldn't see the intent of some of them. Is it just my imagination? After looking around at them once, I extend my hand. I try to pull the hill behind Seo Yoon Hyan's house with attraction force. But the attraction force does not work. I try to draw upon other methods like the 1,000 lustrous forest sea and the Great Desert to Dead Sea, and even the Silica Earth Great Wall practice, but I feel nothing. I pull out a strand of straw used for making the fence and swing it over the platform. Boing. I have trained in the sword for thousands of years. Even without imbuing any energy, just swinging the straw leaves a mark on the platform. After looking at the mark for a moment, I swing the straw at my arm. Surung. My arm is cut, and drops of blood start to seep out. The muscle strength and toughness of my physical body built with the Azure Spirit Starlight Quintessence Great Method have all returned to an ordinary level. I try to focus my consciousness on my Danshin, only to realize that even my consciousness has reverted to my mortal days. This is quite. Of course, even without consciousness, I have no problem observing my body, so I calmly examine my Danshin. The golden core is gone. The Dharma treasure inside is also gone. I have completely returned to the state of Seo Yoon Hyan when first entering Ascension Path. Maybe not that far. Thinking back, it's not to that extent. Seo Yoon Hyan, the charcoal seller in this formation, always has blackened hands and rough skin from working with charcoal. Who? I close my eyes and take a deep breath. And I can feel something strange. There is no Chi Chinese letter. Surprisingly, I can't sense any energy in the atmosphere. Recalling the incident at the hot spring on the surface of Lightning Sacred Sea involving Jang Ik, I try to use attraction force to summon the All-Heaven Sword. However, nothing happens. Damn it. It seems like laws or something in this world are twisted on a fundamental level. Yuk Rin, that dog bastard. How is this just a simple illusion? It's more like an entirely different world. Although I'm not too fearful since I still retain the ability to see intent and my accumulated martial arts, I'm annoyed to find out that some of Yuk Rin's information is wrong. That damned bastard said I could use chi. But while searching through the memories of the charcoal seller Seo Yun Hyan, I discover that there are indeed beings similar to demon spirits, Yaegyu, in this world. I rub my forehead. Damn it, can the demon race use demonic power to some extent in this world? In other words, Yuk Rin wasn't lying from his own perspective when he said one can use energy. Gritting my teeth, I start looking around for now to find my comrades or followers of the Wuji religious order. Although I have some rough memories as Seo Yun Hyan, the charcoal seller, they are not complete. I soon find Yon Wei nearby. She is across the street, inside a tiled roof house wearing clean clothes, playing with her 3-year-old son. That boy feels like Yonjin. Elder Yon Wei. I speak to her first, and she looks at me with flared eyes, rushes into the kitchen, grabs a rice paddle and slaps me across the face. Are you here to ask for rice again? You shameless thing, get out of here. The only thing I'll give you is the rice stuck to your cheek, so scram. HM dear wife, why the commotion? No, husband, it's the village thug again. Creak. The door inside the tiled roof house opens, and a gentleman who resembles Hun One pokes his head out. He meets my gaze and, looking above me, clicks his tongue and says, "He's a poor young man. Dear wife should be more understanding. I've told you repeatedly, haven't I? Seo Fellow's parents once helped our parents. Just give him a scoop of rice and send him on his way." Uwa, all right, husband. Yon Wei's body trembles and reluctantly heads to the kitchen, scooping out a bowl of rice to hand to me. Ooh, why do I have to give our precious rice, meant for my husband and son, to a beggar like you? She hands me the rice with trembling hands, and I accept it in a moment of confusion. Now that you've got the rice, get lost. And if you ever come back again talking about your parents' so-called kindness, I'll make sure you get a severe beating. As soon as I take the rice, she kicks me out the front door and slams it shut. I examine the rice I have received. It's mixed with pebbles and sand. Judging by her character, it's definitely Yon Wei. I recall the face of her husband, Hun One. He didn't have any intent visible. I remember what Yuk Rin said. This formation creates illusions based on the target's memories. It seems Yon Wei's husband is a character purely created from her memories, a figure of this world. Then the neighbors who showed intent. I remember their appearances, realizing they are people I have seen in the Wuji religious order. I see the followers are set to appear as they did in life rather than as ghosts. I frown. That's that, but why hasn't Yon Wei snapped out of it yet? I have already come to my senses, but she still seems to think that she is a character in this world. Even though Yon Wei is dead, she still possesses the consciousness of a 4-axis stage cultivator. Yet she has lost her essence and fully embraced the setting of this world. I need to find the others. I decide to take a walk around the village. And as I walk around, I come to realize my reputation in the village is dreadful. Children started crying as soon as they saw my face. Village maidens suddenly stopped chatting happily and walked as far away from me as possible, and the elderly men trembled in fear and fled with their canes when I approached. The sturdy young men spat on the ground whenever I drew near. Damn it, why did my character have to be a scoundrel? While I am pondering this, I suddenly freeze. Up ahead, I spot Kim Yon and Buck Hyunghwa. They are walking down the road, laughing together. Their demeanor is so similar to their behavior in the Wuji religious order that I approach them on the off chance that they regain their senses. Excuse me. But as soon as I speak, recoil in fright. Kayak, you scoundrel, what are you trying to do to us? Stay away from Yon Unnai, you pervert, what are you plotting now? Kim Yon retreats with a terrified expression, and Buck Hyunghwa also steps back but stands protectively in front of her. No, wait, I have something to say. I approach them taken aback by the realization that even Kim Yon, with her superior consciousness, has not yet broken free from this illusion. If even someone with a vast consciousness like Kim Yon hasn't snapped out of it, just how can one regain their awareness in this formation? Do they need some kind of stimulus? As I approach, Buck Hyunghwa's face grows increasingly fierce. She pulls out a small silver knife from her bosom and grips it in her hand. Hey, calm down. I just need to check something for a moment. What are you trying to check? Our underwear, you villain? If you come any closer, I'll swing. No, Buck Hyung HWA, just put that down for a moment. Go, get your hands off. Boom boing. Buck Hyung HWA lets out a sharp cry as she swings the silver knife at me, and I reach out in alarm. Hey, stop swinging that as it's dangerous. I quickly grab Buck Hyung Hwa's hand and restrain her. Kim Yeon, with tears welling up in her eyes, clings to the hem of my pants and begins to plead. Please don't touch our Hyung Hwa. Take me instead. No, it's not like that. Just then, boom, I sense something flying towards me from behind, and I quickly turn to catch a flying stone. Oh, you're here too. With a welcoming expression, I wave at the angry man who had thrown the stone. It's Jeon Myohoon. Hey Jeon Myohoon, do you remember me? However, Jeon Myohoon approaches me with an angry face and slaps me across the cheek. It's been a while since I've been hit by this guy. Since the guy is always angry, I speak to see if Jeon Myohoon regained his memories. Hey, why are you hitting me all of a sudden? But Jeon Myohoon angrily points his finger at me. Shut up, you scoundrel, stop bothering the village maidens. Don't you know the village has been in turmoil because of you? Do you think I'll let it slide just because we were friends before? If you keep causing trouble, I'll ask Noonam to have you expelled from the village. He raises his hand as if to slap me again, but then a woman behind Jeon Myohoon pulls him back. No, husband, even so, how can you hit a son in front of his parents? What are you talking about? My body trembles as I look at her. She resembles Jin Sohei. She awkwardly smiles at me while pulling Jeon Myohoon back. Haha, hello, we'll be going now. The character resembling Jin Sohei grabs Jeon Myohoon's wrist and hurriedly leads him away. Jeon Myohoon enters the tiled-roof house where Yeon Wei is. It seems the Noonam Jeon Myohoon mentioned is Yeon Wei. Thanks to Jeon Myohoon holding me back, Buck Hyung Hwa and Kim Yeon quickly fled and disappeared from my sight. I sigh. Damn. Upon waking up, I found myself as the thug charcoal seller of Pinglei Island. 2625. D15 series /slug, a Regressor's Tale of Cultivation. Thumbnail, https://media reaperscans net/file/7bsh_k1m/ski6d4x4z8zw 0. Title, A Regressor's Tale of Cultivation. Latest /chapter, null meta. $26.28. D154.29. D4097 2A. D1955 2B. D703 2C. D2428 2D. D1321 2E. D1524 2F. D1740 30. D1705. 380 chapter /title with everyone. Or chapter /data null chapter /content. $24 chapter /thumbnail null chapter /slug. Chapter 380 chapter /unique /id null views 304 chapter /type. Novel price 0 created /at. 2024-08-25T024233 970 plus 0000 updated /at. 2000. 379 chapter /title with everyone 3 chapter /slug. Chapter 379 chapters /to /b /freed. $93 meta. $94 96 97 95. D 2417 chapter /name. Chapter 381 chapter /title spoiler chapter /slug. Chapter 381 chapters /to /b /freed. $96 meta. $97 22 chapter. $23 previous /chapter. $92 next /chapter. $95 7 $L1D null API /response. Chapter D 2414 series / 380 chapter /title with everyone. Or chapter /data null chapter /content. $1E chapter /thumbnail null chapter /slug. Chapter 380 chapter /unique /id null views 304 chapter /type. Novel price 0 created /at. 2024-08-25T024233 970 plus 0000 updated /at. 2020. Regressor's Tale of Cultivation. Latest /chapter null meta. Who /bought. D154 ID 4097 D1955 ID 703 ID 2428 ID 1321 ID 1524 ID, 1740 ID, 1754, 589 ID, 3001. 379 chapter backslash title with everyone 3 chapter backslash slug chapter 379 chapters backslash to backslash be backslash freed meta next backslash chapter ID 2417 chapter backslash name chapter 381 chapter backslash title spoiler chapter backslash slug chapter 381 chapters backslash to backslash be backslash freed meta $div null class name container children $div null children false $L1f null data $20 div null children false $L21 null API backslash response $22 P4 BG background children $L98 null chapter $23 series $25 \\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\\0 Link to donations in the Discord. Chapter 381, with everyone 5. I first roamed around the village to gather information. First, half of this village's residents are followers of the Wuji religious order. Among them are my comrades, Jian Myohun, Kim Yon, Buk Hyangwa, Yon Wei, and Yon Jin. To find the rest of my comrades, I will likely need to visit other villages. The place I landed is called Pinglai, Chinese letter. Pinglai is approximately the size of India on Earth, and the 400 million followers of the Wuji religious order who entered Pinglai all fell as citizens of Pinglai Kingdom. It is estimated that the population of Pinglai Kingdom is around several hundred million. Of course, this is just an estimate. It's possible that not all are humans but have been reborn as beasts, demon spirits, or even real ghosts. This Pinglai Kingdom is divided into a central capital and 7 provinces nationwide besides the capital. Each province is divided into 10 prefectures, and each prefecture is followed by more than 10 counties and districts, with villages as the unit below the districts. And this village I am in is one such unit. This village's name is Tei Village, Chinese letter. Yonwei's husband T1 is the village head and local authority, known by the nickname Old Gentleman Nalbu. Jian Myohun, Yonwei's younger brother, seems to be called Hyungbu's, meaning Hyungbu's household, due to being a relative of Nalbu's family. It seems to be influenced by the folk tale and the memories of me, Jian Myohun, and Kim Yon. TL/N. Hyungbu and Nalbu is a Korean story written in the late Joseon dynasty. Except that Hyungbu and Nalbu are on good terms in this world. Jian Myohun has a harmonious relationship with his wife Jin Sohei, and they have 12 children. Gentleman Nalbu Hunwon is a good husband who listens well to Yon Wei, and thus takes good care of Jian Myohun, Yon Wei's younger brother. Moreover, Jian Myohun is also diligent in managing the household with Jin Sohei, so he rarely has to ask them for help. Buk Hyangwa and Kim Yon are stepsisters due to Kim Yon's father remarrying a stepmother with a daughter. Kim Yon's father passed away early, and while the stepmother heavily favors Buk Hyangwa and Kim Yon have a good relationship. Much like a distorted version of Kanjui and Pachui. TL/N, another Korean folk tale. Then, am I also a protagonist in a folk tale? But what kind of folk tale features a charcoal seller as the protagonist? Despite pondering deeply, I can't recall any folk tale involving a charcoal seller as the protagonist. Should I carry Kim Yon on my back and go around slaying demons? With such idle thoughts, I walk around the village once and then head to the back mountain, approaching the charcoal kiln, the workplace of the charcoal seller Seo Yoon Hyan. Upon casual inspection, the charcoal kiln appears neglected, with various parts on the verge of collapsing, clearly showing that charcoal seller Seo Yoon Hyan hadn't taken care of it properly. Did they say he always produced poor quality charcoal? Moreover, charcoal seller Seo Yoon Hyan would sell his low-quality charcoal to earn a pittance, which he would then spend in the neighboring Seoul village, indulging in drinking, dancing, and gambling with a local named So Didong, Cow Dung. As a result, he has no savings. Was he just a hopeless case? Sighing, I pick up a rusty axe lying next to the kiln. I thought about selling the charcoal kiln to raise money and leave for another village, but who would buy this kiln? I shake my head in dismay. What a fool! No wonder he was poor, sticking to a low-selling business like charcoal. In this era, the best way to make money is by selling soap. Selling charcoal, that's foolish. I open the charcoal kiln. It's filled with a thick layer of ash. If I could get some oil and turn all that ash into soap. Old memories surface, making my hands start itching. I want to make soap right away. Tusk, this is not it. Shaking off the temptation of starting a soap business, I begin searching beneath the kiln, recalling the memories of charcoal seller Seo Yun Hyan. Found it. I find a fire poker beneath the kiln. Its pointed end makes it seem useful as a weapon. Holding the axe and poker, I venture into the forest. According to Yuk Rin's exploration logs, the way to gather comrades within this formation is not to foolishly wander around the 7 provinces, but rather making them come to you. And the best way to summon comrades is by building achievements. In this world, accomplishing something worthy of note will gradually raise one's status, and those I seek would appear before me. According to the memories of charcoal seller Seo Yun Hyan, there's a demon spirit living on the mountainside beyond the back mountain of Tei village. Every night the demon spirit would come down from the mountain to devour livestock, and at times even humans, causing constant anxiety among the villagers. Only someone shunned by the village, like the charcoal seller, would dare go up the back mountain. I decided to first meet the demon spirit at least once. The demon spirit could also be a comrade, and more importantly, I need to gauge the level of demon spirits in this world. The only significant threat in this world seems to be demon spirits. Apart from them, the likes of soldiers or constables are honestly not very frightening unless more than 10,000 of them are coming. How long have I been walking through the forest? I realize I have entered the demon spirit's territory. White fur is scattered throughout the forest. This is. Approaching the fur, I pick it up and sniff it, immediately identifying the demon spirit. Oh, this demon spirit. Just then, Kung, a house-sized fox with 3 familiar tails, appears before me. Gia-ra-ra-rar, gia-ra-ra-rar. The fox glares at me with red eyes, baring its teeth as if ready to devour me. It's Shiho. Kweu-wu. I stare at Shiho for a moment, then ask nonchalantly. What, are you asking for an arm for trespassing into your territory? What a nostalgic situation. It really brings back old memories. No way, you bitch. Kiyak. It seems Shiho reverted to a complete beast after falling into Pinglai Kingdom, losing his reason and attacking me. I swiftly control my muscles perfectly to climb up a nearby tree and map the surrounding terrain in my mind to devise my battle plan. Shiho, after a moment of searching, finds me and bites into the tree I climbed with his massive jaws. Wajuduk. Dujuduk. After biting and thrashing the tree about 10 times, it shows signs of collapsing. Judging by his muscles and the strength he's displaying, he has the power of 2 or 3 bears combined. Calmly and with a cold gaze, I leap to another tree like a monkey and observe Shiho. In his frenzy, he continues to destroy trees, and as I keep evading, he becomes more furious and roars even louder. At one point, I notice his muscles swelling. Who? Simultaneously, Shiho kicks off the ground, flying towards the treetop where I stand with his jaws wide open. And I, with a faint smile, grasp the fire poker in reverse. Since I could kill him by stabbing him with the pointed end, I intend to use it merely as a club. Is that all? Back in the early days on Ascension Path, the reason why I always had my arm torn off by Shiho wasn't because of its size or appearance. This damned mutt was, after all, a demon beast at the core formation stage, and once it started using its demonic abilities, it was impossible to counter. However, now that it has fallen to Pinglai Island, Shiho only resembles his former self in appearance. He can't use his demon abilities, lacks rationality, and is no different from a demon beast at the very early stages of chi refining, only amplifying his physical abilities with demonic power. And if that's the case, I can catch him blindfolded, even without spiritual power or internal energy. With the opportunity to test my physical capabilities, I grip my axe and fire poker and charge to kick the jaws of Shiho, who is also charging at me. Immediately after, I swiftly move behind him, thrust the fire poker into the gap between his shoulder muscles, and grab his fur tightly. Kiyek. Shiho screams and falls from the tree. Before hitting the ground, he quickly twists his body to land and then starts running around frantically, trying to shake me off. But I read his muscles, predict all his movements, and skillfully stay on his back. When he shows an opening, I reach for his head. Kagagugu. Squeezing all the muscles of my entire body for a brief moment, I take a breath and focus my muscle strength into one place. Then, in an instant, quang, I use all my might to strike the back of Shiho's head, feeling his brain shake from the impact containing the subtlety of vibrating force. His eyes roll back, and he faints immediately. Who? I step away from Shiho's body and check my condition. Since I used my body without the brain's restriction for a bit, my body is not in good state. Not being able to use energy makes capturing even a guy like this without injury difficult. If I had even a tiny speck of internal energy, I could have captured Shiho much more easily. After calming my startled muscles with a few deep breaths, I stand up. Then I recall the surrounding terrain I observed earlier. Shiho spun around a central point while trying to shake me off. So it's likely that the center is Shiho's den. After looking at the unconscious Shiho and realizing it will take some time before he wakes up, I head towards his den. Since he's a demon spirit, it'll be nice if he collected some treasures. And indeed, I found an unexpected treasure. Senior, did Senior get captured too? It's Seo Ran. No, I came to rescue you. I smile as I unexpectedly find my next ally to regain awareness after me. First, let's talk about what has happened. /////. Crag traggle trackle. We light a fire and roast the carcasses left behind in Shiho's den. Lying on Shiho's tail, who now obeys me after waking up and returning to his den, I ask. So as soon as you gained awareness, Shiho kidnapped you and you've been here for a few days. Yes, that's correct. It seems the obsession with me remains even here. Interestingly, Seo Ran is of the human race. First of all, my setting seems to be an orphan beggar who lost his memory and ended up on the streets. My identity is an orphan with no ties, and I don't have any other memories. So far, I haven't met any other comrades besides Shiho. Hello. Listening to him gives me a headache. What exactly are the conditions for gaining awareness? Is it just random? Seo Ran has neither lived long, has a large consciousness, nor has a high cultivation. But from what I hear, it seems he had gained awareness even before me. I try to think of commonalities that might exist between Seo Ran and me. Seo Ran is an orphan beggar, and I'm a poor charcoal seller. Both of us have experienced hunger. Could it be that our awareness is triggered at the boundary between life and death? I hypothesize as I look at Shiho. Hey, Seo Ran, if I push this guy to the brink of death, do you think Shiho will gain awareness? Seo Ran is taken aback and shakes his head. Please don't do that. No, I mean, if it doesn't work, wouldn't Shiho die for no reason? Shiho, who had been tense at my words, relaxes when Seo Ran seems to dissuade me, and I nod for now. Well, that is true. Then what should we do? First of all, in my opinion, this seems to be something that will take a bit of time. There are still too few examples, and the conditions are unknown. So, rather than gathering comrades right now, how about focusing on establishing a reputation as Senior initially aimed for? Oh, indeed. I nod. There will be no difference whether Seo Ran and I kill or spare Shiho. So, raising our reputation by establishing great achievements seems like the best course of action to attract comrades to my side. Good, then for now, let's start planning in detail. Gurururuk. Suddenly, a hungry growl comes from Seo Ran's stomach. I stare at Seo Ran for a moment and hand him some roasted meat. Seo Ran devours the meat voraciously, but I keep observing him. Seo Yunhyan, the charcoal seller, had never gone hungry since he could always steal money for rice and soup. But Seo Ran, an amnesiac beggar orphan in this world, seems severely malnourished. For now, let's go to my place and get you some food, then we'll make a plan. Since Seo Ran can't starve to death, I decide to feed him before discussing our next steps. We order Shiho to stay put and descend the mountain. Shiho appears to want to follow Seo Ran, but after a little beating from me, he becomes very obedient, so no big problems arise. Back home, I wash the rice that Yonwei mixed with sand and pebbles. Amazingly, what had been a bucket full of rice is reduced to a few handfuls once all the sand and pebbles are washed out. I explained to Seo Ran about the rice Yonwei gave and apologized for the small amount. Yonwei, that human, I need to kidnap her and hang her upside down someday. Perhaps influenced by charcoal seller Seo Yunhyan's persona, a bad thought flashes through my mind. I somehow manage to cook the scant amount of rice, and Seo Ran, after eating the rice with soy sauce despite being filled with stones even after being washed, gives me his opinion. How about becoming mountain bandits? Mountain bandits? Yes, we will use Shiho to raid the village. Since Elder Yonwei still hasn't gained awareness, if we empty the granary and make them go hungry like Senior and me, won't they come to their senses? I'm taken aback and ask again. What if Yonwei dies? Right, I apologize. Seo Ran scratches his head awkwardly. Shaking my head, I say. Starting today, I plan to use this village as a base, roaming around to capture or subdue demon spirits like Shiho. In the process, I intend to gather comrades, expand my faction, and establish great achievements. After pondering for a moment, Seo Ran asks, if Senior is planning on expanding your faction, wouldn't it be better to overthrow the village to make it the base of your force? After overthrowing the village, we can use demon spirits to collect tribute and be worshipped. This kid, why does he want to rule a village so badly? Thinking back, I suddenly remember that Seo Ran had been worshipped as a dragon god on a small island during his chi building days. I glance at Seo Ran briefly. Although a bit unreliable, Seo Ran's words indeed make sense. After all, if we establish a faction, looting for supplies might happen anyway. It might be better to start from Tei village and establish a regular source of tribute. I recall the purpose of this formation. According to Yuk Rin's logs, the formation changes its details based on the memories of the entrants, but the purpose remains the same each time. That objective is to become the king of Pinglai Kingdom. According to Yuk Rin, there are various ways to become the king of Pinglai Kingdom. If one is lucky enough to have the setting of crown prince, they only need to wait for the coronation ceremony. Even if the entrant is not the crown prince, they can marry the crown prince or princess to become the royal consort or queen. Of course, there is also the option of overthrowing the Pinglai Kingdom, establishing oneself as the ruler, and becoming the king. Once someone becomes the king or a figure close to the king, they are granted the authority to exit the illusion formation, along with the right to take or investigate the treasures of the royal castle. In terms of numbers, we have an overwhelming advantage. If the followers of the Wuji religious order regain their memories, we could overthrow Pinglai Kingdom, and I could declare myself king. However, according to Yuk Rin's information, those who enter earlier are closer to the king or have better conditions to become the king. These include those of royalty, powerful officials, demon spirits, divine spirits, or monsters. Last time Yuk Rin came to Pinglai Island, he killed a monster called the Great Bandit of the Underworld Kingdom, who had kidnapped the princesses of Pinglai Kingdom, and then married a princess to become the royal consort. TL/N. The monster is from another Korean folktale called The Tale of Defeating the Great Bandit of the Underground Kingdom. It is called the Hungry Ghost in some traditions and has the appearance of a giant with 9 heads. And once someone becomes the king, royal consort, or queen, they have the authority to expel anyone other than the king from Pinglai Island by royal decree. Given my current situation, the closest to the throne would be those damned pirates. It's unclear whether they have regained awareness. Moreover, it is said that the current king of Pinglai Kingdom is in good health, so it will take a long time to succeed to the throne. Thus, I only have one option. Indeed, it will be better to overthrow Pinglai Kingdom. Seo Ran nods. I think so too, then will Senior conquer the village. Hold on, conquering the village isn't a good idea. I share my plan with Seo Ran. So, Senior intends to subdue numerous demon spirits, raise a great demon spirit army, attack the capital of Pinglai Kingdom, and quickly seize the throne. That's right, considering that there are no sorceries or mysterious powers in this world except for demon spirits, this method is the best. Well, I understand, let's do it that way. Although Seo Ran seems disappointed about not being worshipped by villagers, it isn't my concern. We immediately formulate a plan and head back to Shiho to give orders. We need some capital to subdue demon spirits. Shiho, go hunt some wild boars or something. Shiho looks at me hesitantly at my command, but only moves after Seo Ran repeats my words. He only listens to you. He seems to like me. And some time later, Shiho brings back a large cow in his mouth. The cow, seemingly unaware of the situation, blinks its big eyes. I told you to catch wild boars, but you brought a village cow. A live one at that. Where did you get it from? In response to Seo Ran's question, Shiho points in a direction. It's the direction of the neighboring Little Yi village. I nod. Well, fine. Since it's not from our village, we can sell it to Tei village. Although feeling a bit guilty, I decide to think of it as a good thing and lead the cow Shiho caught down to the village. Elder Yonwei, please open the door. When I knock on Yonwei's door, she appears with a few servants looking furious. You rotten rascal, what did you come asking for this time? I'm not here to ask for anything, I'm here to sell a cow. Yonwei's eyes widen as she sees the cow behind me. This scoundrel, where on earth did you get that cow? Does it matter where I got it from? I'm offering it to you at a cheap price, so please give me a fair amount. This seems quite suspicious. You're not trying to sell me a sick cow, are you? If you don't want to buy it, I'll sell it to another house. Who said I wouldn't buy it? This is a significant matter, so I need to discuss it with my husband. Wait here. Shortly after, Yonwei rushes inside and brings back Old Gentleman Nalbu. Old Gentleman Nalbu inspects the cow, glances at me, and nods approvingly. It's a good cow. I'll buy it at the right price. Haha, no need to speak so formally. You can speak casually to me. When I try to be humble, his face twists deeply into a frown and says, This good-for-nothing brat, learn some manners. I don't understand Nalbu's strange attitude, but nevertheless, I sell the cow to Old Gentleman Nalbu for 40 brass coins. Well, considering Hun-Won originally has mental issues, this might be a reflection of that. Hun-Won instructs his servants to take the cow to the barn, then speaks to Yonwei. Wife, since surname Seo sold us such a valuable cow, give him some rice cakes as a token of gratitude. He has mouths to feed. Pardon, but we don't even know if the cow that surname Seo rascal sold us is any good. Moreover, surname Seo isn't a farmer but sells charcoal, so he probably just sold us a cow he doesn't need. Wife, we're short on livestock because of the recent demon spirit troubles. We should be grateful for grateful things. No more complaints. Yes. Though Yonwei seems slightly upset, she obediently packs some rice cakes in a basket and hands them to me. She only packed the oldest rice cakes. I click my tongue but accept them gratefully and leave Old Gentleman Nalbu's house. As I step out, I overhear Nalbu whispering to Yonwei from behind. I'm sorry, wife, but it's not because I dislike you. I know. Yonwei seems to soften at Nalbu's apology, her voice melting as she giggles. In the distant fields, I see Jian Myohoon farming with Jin Sohei and their 12 children. If this is a dream or an illusion, would they want to wake up even if they realize it? That thought suddenly crosses my mind. With the money I received from Yonwei, I head to a blacksmith in a village next to a neighboring village to buy leg guards and a sword. My infamy in Tei village is so great that if I try to buy such things there, they would think I am planning to start a fight and refuse to sell to me. Kakaka, normally I only supply government troops, but you seem to have a filial heart, so I'll make an exception and sell to you, young man. The blacksmith from the village laughs heartily as he takes 3/4 of the money from selling the cow. It's outright robbery, but he'd likely run straight to the authorities if I complain, so I just pay what he asks. Anyway, I won't have to worry about the cost of a sword once I conquer Pinglai Kingdom. With that, my preparations are roughly complete. Surung, though it isn't an exceptional sword, it is still an iron sword. Ran looks at the iron sword with doubtful eyes and asks, Senior, if you can't use spiritual power or internal energy, won't you need more weapons? From my few days living in a human body, I have found it has poor durability and strength compared to the body of the demon race. However, I silently swing the iron sword. A rock 3 zhang in size beside Ran, Shiho, and myself is cleanly split in one blow. Just the time I spent holding a sword is thousands of years. What nonsense are you talking about? I have reached a level where I can cut through skin with just straw. This alone is enough. With just this iron sword and enough time, I am confident I can fight the army of Pinglai Kingdom alone and inflict devastating damage. I tap the iron sword with my finger a few times and then climb onto Shiho's back. I'm going to bring in more demon spirits from other areas. Are you going to come along? I don't think I would be of much help, so I'll just stay here and get used to this human body. All right, in the meantime, gather some nets and needles. The more needles, the better. Let's go. I smack the back of Shiho's head, and Shiho quickly starts crossing the mountain. One day, strange rumors began circulating in Pinglai Kingdom. The rumors say that the king of demon spirits has appeared and is subjugating and gathering all the demon spirits across the nation. According to these rumors, the king of demon spirits plans to attack the capital, become the king of Pinglai Kingdom, and turn the world into the heaven and earth of demon spirits. Eventually, the king of Pinglai Kingdom announced that anyone who could eliminate the king of demon spirits would marry the princess, and all the renowned warriors of the nation began heading to the king of demon spirits' base in Tei Village. Among them is Jin Mayol, a scion of the prestigious and powerful Jin clan, the most powerful family in the capital. I can't stand by while a monster like the king of demon spirits threatens our kingdom. Jin Mayol, born with extraordinary talent since childhood, excelled in everything, whether it was archery or swordsmanship. Although the Jin clan tried to dissuade Jin Mayol from participating, he ignored everyone's objections and headed to Tei Village. Why would a talent like you risk your life going to Tei Village? Aren't you already a strong candidate to be the next prince consort of the kingdom? Do not try to stop me. What use is becoming the prince consort when the kingdom is in such turmoil? No one in the Jin clan could deter Jin Mayol, and he was confined to his room by the head of the clan. Bind that foolish boy and lock him in the warehouse. They couldn't afford to lose such a talented member of the family. However, Jin Mayol cut his bindings in the dead of night, stole weapons and a horse, and escaped from his house. Mother, father, please forgive me, but as someone born from the grace of this kingdom, I cannot ignore this great calamity. And when Jin Mayol is just about to cross the capital, Tadet, someone with a covered face, suddenly rushes towards him. Who goes there? Jin Mayol, tense, pulls out his bow from his pack and aims it at the figure. The figure then reveals their face. No. Jin Mayol's expression turns into pure shock. Princess Yukyo. It is none other than Princess Yukyo, the princess who had been discussed as the potential bride for Jin Mayol. Let's go together, Sir Jin. What nonsense are you talking about, princess? I too wish to protect the kingdom. There's no need for further words. Isn't Sir Jin also sneaking away to protect the kingdom, avoiding the eyes of your family? Princess and I. No need for further words. If you keep trying to stop me, I'll scream and alert everyone that you're escaping. If I, the princess, scream in the middle of the night, you know what the consequences will be when you're caught, right? Jin Mayol furrows his brow deeply and says, Fine, but the princess must absolutely not participate in the fighting if you insist on being stubborn. I understand. I'll listen to you, Sir Jin, so just let me ride with you. Yukyo nods calmly and climbs onto the horse behind Jin Mayol, who rides with an expression as if having eaten something foul. Yukyo holds onto Jin Mayol from behind with a tense expression. I've got my chance. I need to join up with the cult leader during this opportunity. Jin Mayol must not regain awareness until then. She bites her lip tightly and with tense eyes, rides with Jin Mayol towards Tei Village. After that, Jin Mayol also gains other companions besides Princess Yukyo. With talented friends such as Yuk Rin, the son of the Dragon King of the East Sea, Kim Young-hoon, a passing scholar, and Baek Rin, a shaman who claims to see ghosts, they all head towards Tei Village. Finally, he arrives at Tei Village and confronts the king of demon spirits, Seo Yun-hyan. The king of demon spirits is indeed powerful. With one strike, he severs the arm of Yuk Rin, the son of the Dragon King. Kim Young-hoon, the scholar with the highest martial skills among them, seems to hold his ground for a while, but is eventually overwhelmed by the sheer number of Seo Yun-hyan's demon spirit subordinates and defeated. Baek Rin, who claims to summon ghosts, is knocked out by Seo Yun-hyan before he could even call upon a single spirit. In the end, Jin Mayol and Yuk Rin have no choice but to flee. No, Yuk Rin, Princess Yukyo is still there. You fool, we can't defeat the king of demon spirits. Give up on the princess. Damn it. Jin Mayol swallows his frustration. Why is running away the only thing I can do? He clenches his teeth as he flees with Yuk Rin. I will definitely return, king of demon spirits. Clang. I throw the sword, the blade chipped and worn from the battle with Yuk Rin, to the ground. It's really unfair, isn't it? I'm just a human with no mystical powers, but that Yuk Rin bastard can transform into a dragon, breathe fire, fly, and has tough scales. Furthermore, Seo Ran, who is also of the dragon race, became strangely human. I really don't understand why the rules of this world are so bizarre. I speak while looking at the approaching Yukyo. So far, no one else has come to their senses except for me, Seo Ran, and you, Yukyo. She bows before me and says, "Greetings to the cult leader. Yeah, nice to meet you." Of course, to be honest, I'm not exactly thrilled. I would have preferred a reliable comrade to come to their senses, but to think that a scammer like Yuck Yo would be the next after Seo ran to regain awareness. "By the way, did you say you're a princess?" "Yes." "Good. I plan to take control of Pinglai Kingdom right away. Marry Seo Ran and lend us some legitimacy." And then I am startled by Yuck Yo's next words. "I refuse." "What did you just say?" "Instead, I will reveal the secrets and truths of this world to you and disclose all of Yuck Rin's schemes. Becoming a king will be easy in comparison, so please be content with this." I look at Yuck Yo for a moment before asking, "Do you know something? Why didn't you say anything when Yuck Rin was captured by us outside?" My father had sealed my memories, so I didn't know anything at that time. When I returned to Pinglai Island, my memories came back. Inside Pinglai Island, the oaths and contracts from the outside world do not apply. Returned to Pinglai Island. I am utterly astonished by her next words. I was born on Pinglai Island. My father, during his last visit to Pinglai Island, defeated the great bandit of the underworld, married my mother, and took me and his many other children to the outside world. What? From now on, I will tell you the truth of this world.